Well, hello. This is John Randall, Minnesota Vikings legend. And it is my pleasure to say, Minnesota Vikings fans uncensored, are you ready? Keith, get your people up. Let's go. Skol, 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 baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Woo.
Go indeed.
It is Black Friday. Hello, Vikings fans. Welcome to the Let's Skol show. I'm your favorite, Michael Fish. Right here, we got this handsome gentleman, he who greets with smoke. This is Shaq, the Italian stallion, David Rinaldi, Grizzly Adams Jr. himself, Cody Bowden. We got a quick recap of the Bears games. We're going to give a preview of the Cardinals game, and we always have our predictions and hot takes. So, fellas, yesterday was Thanksgiving. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? You got any good stories?
I had to drive 8 inches of through 8 inches of snow to get to my sister's house in upstate New York. I live in a hill town. I got like 1 inch of snow. She lives in a hill town, and it was 20 miles an hour and a 40-mile trip. So it was pretty slow going.
Yeah, I passed out at my
both ways, right, David?
What did I have?
Uphill both ways, right, David?
Uphill both ways, barefoot. You got it.
Barefoot. Carrying the beer.
What up, Cody? What'd you do yesterday?
So I drank a lot of wild turkey, and after all the food was gone, I passed out, and I wasn't in the right house at the end of the night. I was in a random house, the neighbor's house next. But thank God we were somewhere in a nice community. But they were like, "Hey, you're in the wrong house." Like, oh yeah, so I think
that's amazing.
There. It was good. Wild turkey. That's for the win. We should be sponsored by them. Matter of fact, for that night.
That's
maybe
a good night.
Tonight we will be.
I can see them just looking at Cody like, so when is he gonna leave?
Listen, if you want to wake up in your neighbor's house wondering why you peed in the bushes, but those aren't bushes, you drink wild turkey. What up, Shaq? What'd you do yesterday?
So for me, I planned on, going to my parents' house and letting them cook, and then I get to eat all the food. Come to find out, they flipped the script, and they made me do all the cooking. So I ended up cooking the whole family some food. So yeah.
Was the whole family high?
Unfortunately, no. Not this time.
Yeah. We kind of do a little bit of potluck with my family. My brother, he made the turkey and a couple of the sides, and then we all kind of brought our specialties and put it all together and had our Thanksgiving. And then don't judge me, went and saw Moana 2 with my son last night. Visually stunning, decent movie, fun. Skol, Captain.
Skol, guys.
Keith.
Skol.
Way to not disappoint, Cody. That's what I was looking for.
Fucking wild man.
How was your Thanksgiving, Keith?
It was good. It was chill, mellow. Like Shaq, a little bit of script flipping. I was supposed to make the turkey in the oven, but then, me and my wife are both lazy on prep, and it was getting kind of late. She's like, well, I need the oven because I got to cook all these sides. So I had to go up and fire up the grill and throw the damn bird on there, which that's the only way I'll ever do it. Like, I haven't done that in a couple of years. The last couple of years, we've just done it in the oven. But this time I did it on the grill. Came out so good, and I remembered why. So, that's the way going forward. And then plus, she can have the oven, and then I get to be out here, and I got my TVs in the garage. So, it's watching football, drinking beers, and the bird on the grill. So, perfect.
Sounds like a good day.
Sounded like she didn't have to do much to convince you to do that.
I was like, oh, man, I got to use the grill. I got to be outside away from all of you guys.
Oh, damn. Let's throw out some Skols to Nick and E. Thanks for joining us, as usual.
I will say I'm a little bummed that we didn't get one of the Thanksgiving games. Our whole division played on Thanksgiving except for us. I said this like many times before. I like playing on the holidays. And like that's kind of a way, like, because my wife, she'll kind of complain. I mean, she's been with me for like almost 25 years, so she knows the deal. Like, I'm gonna watch football when it's on, but that doesn't stop her from throwing comments. But if it's the Vikings, she leaves me alone. So I actually enjoy playing on the holidays. You guys feel the same way, or are you guys glad that we're not playing?
I'm so happy we're not playing on the holidays. I mean, the last holiday we watched Alvin Kamara run 6 touchdowns against it, 5. I don't know how many touchdowns he had, but it ruined. Like, it was cool and all, open up the presents, but when it got to that game, man, I didn't care.
We watched the Vikings beat Mac Jones and the Patriots on Thanksgiving after that.
Yeah, but
we also watched Greg Joseph kick a 61-yard field goal on Christmas Eve to beat the Giants.
Those are the Giants and the Patriots.
If I remember correctly, Mac Jones threw for like 6,000 yards against us and made it.
He did, and we beat him. Because my guy, Kene Nwangu, returned a kick for a touchdown the last time he ever did that.
And he made the special teams work. Yep, he is your guy. Been your guy since day one.
I don't know where he's at now. We lost touch.
I know you were devastated when he got cut. Devastated.
Did you say he's on the Jet Shack?
He's on the Jets.
Like their practice squad or their roster?
I don't know.
Got to be practice squad. I don't think Aaron Rodgers signed off on it, so it's probably the practice squad.
Gotta be.
What do you guys think about the tradition of it always being Cowboys and Lions? Do you like that tradition, or do you think it's a little bit played out and it should be better? Not better, but other teams getting that spotlight.
It should be flexed in, man. It should be flexed in for a good game.
They could do that, but I see, if the NFL want to have the traditions, let them have their traditions. Because it's like the Cowboys, and it would be interesting to have the Cowboys versus the Commanders every year. Kind of give it that old school Cowboys versus Indians look. But I guess, America's team, I guess they could flex it out for the new America's team. I don't know who that would be, but the Chiefs.
We knew that's where you were going with that.
I can't ever imagine a scenario where I would want my team flexed into a short week. Can't think of a reason why I would want.
I don't know about the flexing necessarily, but I don't know about it always being the Cowboys and Lions dead set every year anymore. I think when I was a kid, I liked it more. Now as I got older, it's like, all right, I'd rather see some other teams, especially. I mean, the Lions are good now, but they were so bad for so long. It's like, why are the Lions always playing on Thanksgiving?
Because they paid for it. I
Didn't
saw
everything
something on it several years ago.
1950.
I saw something several years ago. The Lions and the Cowboys have paid for it. They will always play on Thanksgiving.
I'll tell you what, I've lived through 50 years of Lions games until this year. Who cares? It was worse than the Thanksgiving Day parade.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Well, the thing is, David, is up until this year, if your team was the one playing them on Thanksgiving, you were like, hell yeah, we got us a Turkey Day win. We're going to get them chicken legs. For them.
Unless you're a Viking fan.
Yeah, would we see him like twice in that time? I mean.
And we lost. Like, we beat the Cowboys.
We did beat the Cowboys. That was the one good game.
What's up,
Lucy? Skol.
I would say they probably could do the Pro Bowl during Thanksgiving.
Do a turkey bowl?
Just have the players take the bye week, and then they have this whole week to do, all pro events because nobody pays attention to the Pro Bowl.
I thought the game was good because you're either how this lineup was good because the Cowboys and Giants came up. You're either eating turkey dinner right now, not even watching the table, missing it, or you're taking a nap. I mean, you put two worst teams in the NFL to play each other on that day, and you didn't have to watch it. Like, you were either eating or you're taking a nap. So that was
brutal.
Perfect.
It was brutal.
Well, it's 1:00 for some of us.
Well, unfortunately, I live in a Giants household, so I caught snippets of it. Y'all ain't this much.
Do they even care? The Giants fans?
No, they just over the season.
What do you guys think about that Black Friday game today?
Of hope when Tommy DeVito was put back in. Like,
left at about 5 minutes worth.
Yeah. They want the coach fired. They want to change the whole organization, coach, GM. They want both of them fired.
Wasn't Brian Daboll coach of the year a couple of years ago?
Not anymore.
Over KOC.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, Josh Allen. Well, not even Josh Allen. It's because he beat us.
Keith, you said about the Black Friday game today?
Yeah, what'd you think about that? Not the game itself, but there actually being a game.
That snap at the end of it, and then the refs coming together trying to figuring out what it should be called. I was thinking, it's false start, clock stops, they could kick a field goal. But then they're huddling together, and then it took 20 seconds, and they thought, all right, it is this call. They recovered a fumble, Chiefs win. I was like, what the hell? This fucking thing is script. I didn't believe it. I thought it was false start, time stops, they kick a field goal, and they get a win. But no, they just totally handed it to the Chiefs, in my opinion.
Raiders
Carlson was-
flashback.
Yeah, sorry.
Like the Raider Patriot AFC Championship flashback, the fumble, no fumble.
Yeah, the tuck rule.
Yeah, the tuck rule. There
Yeah.
you go. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, guys.
So the thing I noticed is illegal formations. Sometimes the refs could end the play if they want to.
Yeah, they didn't even end the play. They let it. It just happened, and they're like, "How is that a legal formation? Everyone's lined up correctly. The ball was just snapped prematurely." I guess they weren't all set, so wouldn't that be considered a false start? I don't know, man. That was fishy having those refs all together just talking amongst themselves. They need mics on, what we were saying. Yeah, need mics on the referees while they're talking about the stuff.
Bro, I love that idea. They never do it, but I love that idea.
That's like body cams on police right there. Let's find out.
Turn the mic off.
He turned his mic off. He's a dirty ref. So I really didn't watch too much football yesterday. It didn't seem like any of the games were too good, except the Bears-Lions seemed like it was pretty good. I caught the end of that. What did you guys think of that? Do you think the Bears were actually about to do us a favor?
Shit, they was the closest team to being the Lions since the Buccaneers.
Since us,
the Vikings.
I mean, shit, we had the chance, but we fucked it up. I don't think we got into the red zone.
Wait, no.
But we was up, and we gave them the ball back.
Yeah.
And they
scored.
We lost by 2, Shaq. We took the lead and lost by 2. Come on, man.
My bad. It's been a long day since that game.
Yeah, but I feel like it's been a while since that game.
I think the problem was we took the lead and lost. The Bears never took the lead, and they had a chance to win.
They had a chance to win.
That was the difference in between these two games.
What went wrong there, Cody?
Man, they fired the man that went wrong. I'll tell you that right now. You call the time out, dude. I was screaming at the TV, and I hate the Bears and I hate the Lions. I was screaming at the TV because that's how much I wanted the Lions to lose too. But Jesus, you had 32 seconds on the clock. You can call a timeout. Either you have plenty of options now. You get all right. Look for an end zone pass. If it's not there, throw it away. Kick the field goal. All right. Hey, throw the ball 4 yards. Pick up a little bit extra yards for your kicker. Rush the kicker out there. Kick the field goal. Win the game. All right.
58-yard field goal?
Huh?
58-yard field goal.
They were 6 yards away from field goal range.
Yeah.
It's 58-yard field goal. I don't care what you want to say the range is. The guy's been struggling for 45 yarders because he has a low trajectory on his kicks.
You have 2 shots to the end zone. Okay. If nothing's there, throw it away. Then you go to the Hail Mary. I mean, give your team a chance to win the game. It was 3rd down. Then you throw the incomplete. It goes to 4th down. That's when you can throw your Hail Mary, or you can contemplate bringing the kicking team out there. I mean, you have options. Yeah.
I mean, we were sitting here saying we'd try a 70-yarder. Remember that?
Yeah.
We have a good kicker.
Let's try to send. I mean, at that point, you're just saying, okay.
Well, to be fair, the Bears kicker haven't really been missing because of him. It's just been getting blocked.
That's because of the
That's
kicker.
because of him.
That's because of the kicker.
Skol.
I mean, he only can kick it so high. It's not like if you get your offensive lineman getting put
blown up
like in preseason. You remember that kick? That was on the kicker.
Yeah.
What was he supposed to do?
Yeah, it was on him because he had a 4th string lineman in there. Who was it? Jurgens, who hasn't even played a snap?
Jurgens. It was Jurgens who got put.
So
they should have schemed around
different.
that. He should have hooked it, schemed around it and hooked it.
Yeah, take a 2-second delay and then kick it.
Man, that's crazy.
I felt it was the right call. I felt Caleb Williams froze up in the moment. You could see all the Bears players on the sidelines like, go, what are you doing? Like they're all everybody knew what was going on except for Caleb Williams. Like
the play wasn't even in until 15 seconds. And Caleb
Williams was like behind the center with 14 seconds to go. 14 seconds to go, and he waits till
Yeah, he
6
did.
seconds to snap the ball. He's like
He's
looking
trying
at his fingernails. Like, is it the right color?
He's like, okay, we're just gonna make up a play here. I guess we'll figure
Oh
it
yeah,
out.
he's gonna make a play here, and the receivers knew what to do and everything. Nah, I'm not buying that for a second.
I
Well,
mean, he said it during the press conference. He said he got the play.
He
wanted
said
to
at
take the
13
play.
seconds, but if you watch that video from 13 seconds, there was no like, oh, okay, I got the play, and he was telling everybody to play.
Well,
That
the
wasn't-
coach
that
is
wasn't
fired. So
happening.
you can tell. You can blame it on that one.
Called a timeout. So my
Caleb
thing
could
is,
have called timeout.
he should have. But my thing
Remember
is,
we chastised Kirk Cousins? What do you mean you can't call timeout?
Right. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like the Viking 2-minute offense, man. I did not enjoy it. It was like futility. I can tell you this, though. You know, they got an L coming, man. Those Lions are beatable. They're beatable.
beat up. They're beat up.
Don't tell
Well,
Robbie.
we can
Yeah,
ask
but you know
him.
what? They might be, but by the time we play them, they're gonna be at full strength.
Well, I don't care as long as they drop a game in this window and being beat up.
Yeah,
I
hopefully.
really don't care.
And we'll talk about how close this damn
Here
division
comes
is.
Buffalo.
Call that timeout.
Yeah, so the Bears fired their coach the first time they've ever done that in their history in season. That's crazy. When I didn't believe that was true until we had the Bears going on last week, and he said that. I was like, really? They've never fired a coach in season.
Who was ours? Do we have one?
That we fired
Brad
in season?
Childress.
Was he in
Brad
season?
Childress.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Frazier was an interim. You're right. Yep.
And then I think Frazier got fired, and who took over after him? I think Frazier got fired too.
Did Denny Green get fired mid-season after that meltdown?
I want to
to
say Mike Tice was the interim head coach before he was our head coach.
I think so.
I remember we were talking about leadership sometime in the show. Like they were firing offensive coordinators. That was always blaming this guy. No, that was the guy. You cut it off at the head, and then you can start over.
So
Right.
So isn't their head coach now like was he like the quarterback coach or something to start the season? Then he got promoted to offensive coordinator like a week or two ago, and now he's the head coach.
It's ridiculous, man.
He just broke the glass ceiling right there, baby.
Yeah.
So he's technically from the Sean McVay tree. So that's probably why he got promoted.
Oh, is he?
Oh, is he? That's
Yeah.
good. Good for them.
Yeah, our quarterback's assistance coach is the fourth best next odds for head coach of the Chicago Bears right now, Mitch McGowan.
I hope this guy does a pretty good job and almost gets him into the playoffs to where I think, oh man, we should stick with him. And then they don't go get Ben Johnson.
You're right. I'll tell you what. I think the Vikings won that coaching hiring season, the 2022 coaches.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the hottest ones. And if we have time, we might talk about that. If not, we'll talk about it next week. But the Vikings did make some roster moves this week, which doesn't usually happen right now. The biggest one, most surprising one that everybody's been talking about, they cut Akayleb Evans.
Uh-oh.
So that still counts, right? My hot take's good with that.
There goes my hot take.
And then get this. Not only did they cut him, he actually got claimed by the Carolina Panthers.
Moving up, baby.
Yeah, that's good for him. He's playing with a bunch of players the same level of talent as he is. Good job, Akayleb.
That's
Still won
funny.
the
Like
race,
I went
Cody.
on Twitter just to search his name, and I had all kinds of Panther fans like talking like, "Oh, we got a new cornerback from the Vikings. Like this is what we need." I'm like, "You don't know who this guy is, do you?" And then like one guy's like, "Hey, Viking fans, I don't know anything about Akayleb Evans. Tell me something." It's like, "Well, our secondary is pretty ass, and we cut him." He's like, "Well, then maybe we can use him on special teams." And I didn't even want to go into how bad he was for special teams. I just let him. Okay, I'll let you have your hope.
What I know is Cody single-handedly willed that into existence.
Yes.
He did. Cody broke that man.
Poor dude.
He used to be a
Dude
fan
was
of the
one
show,
more
not anymore.
concussion away from being a vegetable. And I still won the race.
So, Cody, you're not disappointed that he didn't make it back to the practice squad?
No, not at all. I mean, good for him. He found a team, but not at all. The only thing I would be disappointed is the depth we have at cornerback right now, even with the lack of talent that is there at cornerback. So I was hoping maybe we bring in someone else, maybe, but if Gilmore goes down, Murphy goes down or the other one goes down, we're in trouble.
Cody, you realize you speak stuff into existence. You need to be
I know,
careful.
I
with
know.
your words.
Stop.
I tell you what, if you ask if there's any other Vikings news, I'm going to drive down to Georgia and I'm going to give you the handshake from hell.
What's the guy from the Dolphins? The one that was like sending.
Howard?
Yeah. No, not Howard. It wasn't Howard, was it?
Xavier Howard? Yeah.
Is he the one that was sending the pictures to the kid of his mom?
Yeah. David Howard.
I think what did you say? The Bengals brought him in. So I mean, he's
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, they didn't sign him though, so he wants money. He wants.
He's probably, hey, check out these pictures. And like, oh, get out of here.
I think Breland out there.
Oh, Breland,
Unless
yeah.
you're
No,
married.
he might be in jail.
Bro, he's gotta be, man.
He might be in jail. No, but the real surprising move, of course, was the Vikings signed Daniel Jones. And that just became official today. They signed him for the remainder of the season for $375,000 because he already made enough money off of us. He was signed to the practice squad, so that means he's still eligible to sign with another team if another team wants to sign him. Like, if in the next couple of weeks a starting quarterback goes down for a playoff contender, they can still pluck him off unless the Vikings do the hard thing and part ways with Nick Mullins and actually activate Daniel Jones to the active roster to be the backup.
I thought he was protected.
It's up to him. You get signed off the practice squad, you can refuse to sign.
Right, well, right. But if a playoff contender, offers him to come in, then he's probably gonna take it because where it is, the Raiders offered him a deal. And he's like, no. Which I don't understand. He wanted to go to a playoff contender, which is basically saying, I don't want to start because there's no playoff contender looking for a quarterback right now.
He wanted to go to a good coach too, so
that's what he did.
That's big too.
Well, there's that too. There's that too. But it was out there that he wanted to go to a playoff contender, which was weird. So maybe that's just realizing, hey, maybe I do need some development.
Smart.
May I say this? That I think we willed that into existence also.
We did.
I sure as hell didn't.
You didn't. The rest of us did.
We talked about it. I don't know if we willed it into existence.
That
So
was
Ronaldo,
a good combo.
Ronaldo, what's your take on this?
Well, look, I know what I know is that we don't have more than one QB signed for next year. So, I see that as a way for us to have a trial date, man. We're going out on a date with Daniel Jones. He's going to see what we look like. We're going to see what he's like at dinner. Does he get shit on his face and, hey, man, I'm out on you? Or is it more like, hey, you know what? This guy's a good guy. He's a locker room guy. Keep what I keep hearing, right? And if he's a pro's pro, why not have him know the playbook going into the season as a backup? Because that's probably what it looks like. He was on an interview today, and he said all the things we just talked about. He came to this team, if you heard the interview, because he liked the coaching staff, he liked the offense, and I think he wants to get better. And this is the place to get better. This is a QB rehab now. Says a lot about KOC, right? I think that this team has a great coaching staff, and that's the way it's the way it is throughout the league. At the end of the day, though, I think it is a referendum on where we're heading with Sam Darnold. I think this absolutely says exactly where we're going next year. Look, we win a Super Bowl, yeah, we're gonna sign Sam Darnold. I think anything short of that, including an NFC championship, J.J. McCarthy is our quarterback. And this guy could be our backup, and we'll have tried him on, and we'll know exactly what we got.
It's pretty crazy that right now, if you include J.J. McCarthy, we have 3 former top 10 picks on this roster right now.
It's sick.
Super Bowl.
That, right?
More importantly,
Super Bowl, homeboy.
More importantly, and back to reality for just a second.
Oh. Okay, Dad.
We don't have any draft picks next year. So we let Sam Darnold and we let Daniel Jones go in free agency. We get comp picks for them. And the value of those comp picks will be decided by what kind of contract they sign. So, yeah, Sam Darnold, go get your $45-50 million a year and give us a third-round comp pick. Daniel Jones, get yourself $15-18 million a year and get us a 5th or 6th round draft pick. Help us replenish with some people we actually need, because J.J. McCarthy will start next year and Nick Mullins will be his $1 million a year backup.
Yeah, the only thing about the comp picks, The only thing about the comp picks is it goes into the equation of comp picks. It doesn't necessarily mean you get one because we're going to be signing a shitload of free agents from the looks of it. So I don't know that we're really going to walk away with 2 or 3 or 4 comp picks next year. We might just not give, it might just kind of even itself out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a single comp pick, honestly, because we're got 22 people in this roster.
And to Tommy's point, Cam Robinson too.
Yep, and Cam.
Unless we bring him back, but I don't know if he's going to come back as a backup because that's exactly what he'll be if he signs with us.
But wouldn't it be for
O'Neal 3?
Wouldn't it be for 2026? Because aren't we expecting a comp pick for 2025 from last?
Yes,
2026.
Shaq, good point. So Fisher will not restock us this year, even if it worked out the way you hope it works out.
Yep.
Right.
We already know we're trading our first round pick this year for like 3/3 and a 4th.
Let's go, Ashton Genty.
So Cody,
welcome to day 3 of the draft with the Let's Skol podcast.
hey, and we will do that. We will absolutely do that. We'll get drunk and have fun.
Yeah.
Cody, if someone had told you in this offseason that the Vikings would be 9-2 with Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones is going to be his backup heading into December, what would you have said to them?
If you would have told me at any point in my fucking life since Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold entered the NFL that was going to be our quarterback room for this year at 9-2, I would fucking call you crazy. You're smoking crack 100% of the way. There's no way. We have both New York quarterbacks in Minnesota right now. Both of them. I can't. It confuses me. It makes me fucking crazy right now. I don't understand how we're doing this. I always been saying it. I don't even know why we're 9-2. This is a whole different fucking reality, whole different universe we're in right now. This is how wild this year is, and I think it's a great move by Kwesi. And I give Kwesi a lot of shit. The draft. Ever since this year's draft, he has done some really, really top of the line GM things. You have a win-win situation with the Darnold thing. He's your backup behind McCarthy next year, or you get a draft pick. It's a win-win regardless, and he's only $375,000 right now. And if you want to make your backup, he's probably going to make around Sam Darnold money.
Yep. And he'll be all right with it.
Yeah.
What I think happened is that Keith Hansen is a freaking Nostradamus because he stated that we're going to have a different quarterback than our starting quarterback win a playoff game this year.
Mm-hmm.
I did say that, and we got a little bit closer to that because I wasn't feeling too confident with Brett Rippon beating that guy. So, yes, the odds did increase on that, which I hope it doesn't come down to that. But now I think, we've seen Sam Darnold go down a couple times, and we all like, oh, my God, there goes the season. But then Nick Mullins makes a play, and he limps back out there. But there's gonna be a point where maybe he can't limp back out there, and I think this is kind of some insurance or security. It's okay, we know we're going to the playoffs, so we don't want to end up going to the playoffs and having to do with Nick Mullins, even though I'd be okay with it, but most people would not be. So I think they got Sam Darnold insurance right now. They went to Geico.
You mean they got Daniel Jones's insurance?
They got Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold insurance.
Right.
I hate the fact that you made me even say the name.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool. My bad. It's cool. Nick Mullins coming out there. He comes out there for a play, 2 plays last game. He does the good 3 plays, but you're talking 4 quarters of football of him playing. Can he keep doing that, or is he going to be like Sam Darnold or less?
They'd be like Sam Darnold, but with 400 yards.
I don't want to find out.
No, I don't either.
I do.
So, Fish, why are you so opposed to Daniel Jones coming in and being on our practice squad and likely being our backup quarterback for the rest of the season?
Absolutely unnecessary. I think Nick Mullins is better than Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones.
He's got a hot take out there as he's trying to cling on to it as hard as he can.
Yeah,
I have absolutely no hot take alive on that. I said Nick Mullins would be our starter week 1. That hot take's gone. Nope.
So Shaq,
I don't have a hot take, Besson. I just have a belief in the fact that Nick Mullins is a better quarterback than them two. You'll get the same amount of touchdowns, the same amount of interceptions as Sam Darnold's. You're going to get a higher percentage of completion, and you're going to get more yards.
I mean, he has a better quarterback rating right now than Sam Darnold.
Absolutely.
So, Shaq, you had an interesting theory on how maybe we could use Daniel Jones. Why don't you share that with us?
So I've been talking about it for a while now. The Saints, they have a backup quarterback in Taysom Hill, who occasionally he gets to start at quarterback, but when they use him, it's more a gimmicky offense that the NFL can't stop. We could laugh at it like, oh, he's not a good quarterback, but when you look at the stats and the fact that he's still on the Saints past the last two coaches he was with, he has a solid spot on the Saints to lead that team and help them win, whether it be actually throwing the ball, running the ball, or catching. He does all facets on offense to help the Saints win, and maybe we can use Daniel Jones like that because Daniel Jones does have speed. He's not no Lamar Jackson, but he's athletic enough to be able to run the ball and catch the ball. I think they showed one Giants play where they did the Philly special, and he caught it with one hand on his helmet.
I'm not against that. I'm not against that. I just wonder if Daniel Jones is like, okay, yeah, go ahead and use me like a receiver. But you're right. You're right.
Quarterback.
You're right. Without Taysom Hill, the Saints aren't as successful. I mean, they haven't been super successful lately, but as they are, like he's what makes that team scary. Like he really is. Like Kamara's falling off, but whenever Taysom Hill, especially when we play them, and Taysom Hill comes out, I was like, oh, here we go. He gets a touchdown against us every time we play them.
And the fact that he's running and he still get positive yards is crazy.
Yeah, I like it.
Not against it, but Daniel Jones would definitely have to sign up for that. So we placed Ivan Pace on injury reserve short term with a hamstring injury, so he'll be out for at least 4 games. And with it being a hamstring, I wouldn't be surprised if he's out for the rest of the regular season. The earliest he can return is Week 17 against the Green Bay Packers, which that'd be a good time to get him back because we go with Green Bay Packers and we go against the Detroit Lions. I would like to be at full strength as much as possible. But I did say last week, if we did have a player go down, that's probably the one I'm most okay with because I feel like that's a position at least we have some kind of depth behind. Like if a cornerback went down, our cornerbacks already suck. Our depth would suck. If our safeties went down, our depth sucks. Our defensive line, the depth sucks. Our edges, they're good. But I like the guys we have starting, so I wouldn't want them to go down. So Ivan Pace is probably like, if we had to pick somebody, I'd probably be okay with, and that's not like a knock on him. But Rinaldi, how much do you think this is going to affect our defense?
Well, it's going to affect it some. The guy, you could say what you want about him. I mean, he gets washed out in some plays, but he is a good pass rusher, man. When he finds a gap, he can scooch through it. I mean, we're gonna miss that to some degree. And let's face it, he's capable of wearing a green dot. He's a smart player, so it's going to hurt a little bit. But I would say this: I like Rouge Hill to some degree. I think he's like a player. But I also love the move that Kwesi made. We got Davis, Davis, right? John, how do you say his name? I don't even know. But Jamin. He was a first-round pick, man, and the guy's got 3 years worth of starting experience. I mean, I think he's not a great off-the-field guy, but he's a stud. Honestly, I think it's another really nice, solid pickup with upside, and he might make the team next year. So I think it's kind of a cool move. I think we did a good job on that again.
Let me go ahead and since we're getting asked about it, let me read out some stats about him. So Jamin, I know a Jamin actually, Davis. He was a former first-round pick in 2021 by the Washington Commanders. I think at that time they were the Washington football team, but he was a 19th overall pick out of Kentucky. Where you at, Unc? He started 28 games between 22 and 23. He was released after 5 games this season, and he signed with the Packers practice squad, and that's where we picked him up off of. But I'm not gonna say I've seen this guy playing football, so I went back and looked at his stats, and he's played.
Yeah.
Keith, you went mute, bro.
Went dark.
Hello?
Yep.
There we go. So he played 50 games, started 36 of them. He has 7 sacks, 1 interceptions, and has 282 tackles, 21 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. So those sound pretty good because that's 5 to 6 tackles per game. Some being made behind the field, which this sounds like a player that Brian Flores desires. And it's the kind of thing that Kwesi looks for. He looks for those players to buy cheap with a high ceiling.
He's going to absolutely love Jamin Davis. I mean, when we lost, it was the year of 21, and we lost Kendricks or we lost Barr. And Davis was coming up on a lot of scouting things where I was trying to go through, and he was the pick that I wanted in that year of that 21. Actually, I wanted Davis as a linebacker.
Really?
I knew we were losing Kendricks for Barr, so we needed that defense. We needed that defense back, and I wanted Davis in that position. Coming out of Kentucky, just like this year's draft, I wanted that big old offensive lineman guy. We ended up getting that body slammed his own teammate in the locker room. So and I'm a big fan of Kentucky Wildcat football, and definitely Jamin Davis, I think, was a solid pickup this year. He reminds me of a lot of what's that, Kobe Dean out of Philly. So
good point. I do hear he's kind of a race car driver, a little bit like Jordan Addison, though.
Yeah, what's going on, but
Well, our driver's ed course in Minnesota will be happy to have another endorsement from the Minnesota Vikings. So, yeah, I mean, when I'm on the Pace train. I really like Pace, and when he went down, I was like, okay, Grugier Hill to me is not too big of a downgrade off of Pace. He's pretty close on his overall game. So I was like, okay, but I think that the downgrade if you go past Grugier Hill would be a real problem. So if this Davis kid can play any kind of football, Skol, Jorge, then we'll be all right. It's a good pickup, and hopefully Pace comes back soon. Because, yeah, we do need to be up. I just want to say just a general statement real quick about that now that we're talking about the injury to Pace. A lot of hay is being made over the Lions having a lot of injuries on their team. Like it's being set up to be some sort of excuse because they've lost so many of their starters and their backup players, every single one of them on defense. But my God, this is the NFL, and we're in week 13?
Mm-hmm.
We're missing our starting tackle. We're missing our starting inside linebacker. We missed our starting tight end 1 for how many weeks? Our wide receiver 2 for how many weeks? Wasn't nobody making excuses for us when we were going like 5-0 undefeated, missing key players. So
we're not making excuses for them.
Yeah, they I'm just saying that everybody has injuries that they're dealing with now. The Lions just happen to be dealing with more than the rest of us, and they need to shut up and see how good of a coach Dan Campbell really is, which I don't think he's a great one.
I tell you this, though, guys, with Jamin Davis and Daniel Jones coming over here, I think we now are at 16 total first-round draft picks on this team.
It's crazy.
Nice.
It's crazy.
Which is amazing because we have so many UDFAs starting for us at the beginning of the season. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that, Cody, when we were talking about we were close to being an XFL team because we had so many UDFAs starting?
Yep.
And now we got first-rounders.
So I thought we were going to actually get to see a little bit of Gabriel Murphy. Now you're talking about UDFAs, but I don't know. They acted kind of strange with him. So they signed him as a UDFA. They paid him, and then he gets injured. They put him on IR. They take him off IR. They put him through the 21 days that you're allowed to do before you have to put him on the active roster. On that 21st day, they put him on the active roster, and then the next day they cut him. I was like, what's going on here? And I thought for sure he was going to get picked up, but right before the show, I saw that we actually signed him to our practice squad. Fish, I know you got a hot take riding on this.
Nobody
I'm still
wants
alive, baby. I'm still alive. I said that Gabriel Murphy will, by the end of the season, have a start. And I'm still
So nobody
there.
in the NFL wanted him off waivers?
Nobody
the guy
that
hasn't even played a snap.
needed an edge. Wow, Cody just hates the UDFAs. He doesn't care what they do. You weren't drafted, bro.
You ain't good enough.
That's pretty good, Jorge, actually. He says he's a Mullins guy, Fish, but to have a quarterback with some playoff experience.
The only playoff experience that Jones has is against Donna Shell. That don't count.
Well,
That
no,
don't
he has
count at all.
experience getting whooped up by the Eagles, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got 2 quarterbacks with playoff experience right now.
Yeah, bro.
Nice.
We do.
It was a 17-yard slant to
Pretty sure Mullins was on the
Or 63.
49ers when they went to the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo, so he has playoff experience too.
Does Jimmy got a job? Daniel Jones got a job.
Does he,
Jimmy got a job.
does he have a job?
He's
Does
on,
he
well,
have a job?
Jones is on the
Cody?
practice squad. Garoppolo's the backup for the Rams.
Oh, so you got a job.
Cody, how does Jones have a backup? How does Jones have a job on the practice squad and Gabriel Murphy doesn't?
Well, one's a first round pick and the other one's an undrafted free agent.
Doesn't matter where they started. It matters where they're at.
Well, one will be the backup and the other one will go back to the practice squad also.
You're right. Murphy's going to be the backup. You're right.
No, Nick Mullins is definitely probably heading in that practice squad.
When
here
did
in about
Sam Darnold play in the playoffs? Not
He
like a
did. He was
backup.
on
When
it.
did he play?
49ers.
When did he
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 threw
was
play?
on the 49ers.
He threw a slant route to IU for 63.
Oh,
So it's like Mullins in the regular season.
bro,
He's
you,
got a touchdown in the playoffs.
I was worried about Sam Darnold in the playoffs, and now that's been alleviated.
Wow.
No
touchdown in the
worries.
playoffs.
We got no worries now.
Have you
Oh,
not
there's-
seen? Have you
we're all
not
right.
seen Kirk in the regular season and playoffs? Shit could
I don't
change.
like either one of them.
Well, at least he looks like a quarterback in the regular season.
Sometimes until he gets a lead. All right, so we played the Bears last week. We won our 4th game in a row. You know, looking for our second 5-game win streak. We're 9-2. Narrowly beat the Bears 30-27 after having an 11-point lead. Had to take them to overtime and winning that in only a way the Vikings could. After it looked like we're finally going to put a team away. Even Cody was getting positive about it. Like, hey, we're doing it. We're going to score 27 points and we're going to win in the double digits. And then they choked that away. What did you guys think right when you saw the onside kick get recovered by the Bears, Cody?
Fuck, thank God we scored 27 points. I mean, we got to score more than 24 to win in like a lot of situations. But yeah, that onside kick scared me. Johnny Munt, man, third best tight end in the league or whatever. What did KOC say about him?
Yeah,
The
I don't
best third string tight end.
yeah, the best.
I think we
Third-string tight
kept
end
the
in the league.
wrong tight end, honestly. We should have probably kept Nick Muse after those follies that Munt had. So it was kind of embarrassing to watch, but it was also very relatable because it is Vikings football at the end of the day. So you're kind of used to it, you know, but it is what it is. We still picked up the W. Our stats reflected the score finally. So I was pretty happy with it. Yes, it sucked going overtime with the Bears, but the Bears also almost just beat the Lions. So
Well, speaking about the stats, we had a 300-yard passer, we had a 100-yard receiver, actually had 2 of them, and we had a 100-yard rusher. Rinaldi, why didn't we blow these guys out?
We did blow them out until we didn't. I mean, that's kind of like what keeps happening to us. Our 2-minute defense stinks. And I know it's not just the 2-minute defense, but you know what? It's gonna bite us in the ass at some point unless we fix it. And when I say 2-minute defense, I don't mean just the end of the game and the quarters, and not the end of quarters, and the halves and the games. We get really soft. We let them move the ball, and there's so many scores at the end of halves and at the end of the game. I don't think we can do what we think we want to do unless we fix that. And I'll go a step farther. I don't think we can continue to call B-Flow a genius until he fixes that.
Ooh, Cody, them's fighting words.
nah, he's right. He's kind of correct. I mean, he's kind of correct right there. I respect that. I think B-Flow, what he does throughout the whole game though is what makes him above everybody else as a defense coordinator. I mean, you can say the same thing as a defense coordinator that gives up a shitload of yards and it goes 42-40, and then overtime he seals the game. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but you're kind of disappointed at the yards and the points you just gave up also.
So an interesting stat came up during that game when Aaron Jones finally scored a touchdown. That was the first Vikings rushing touchdown in the second half in 27 games. The last one was in 2022 against the Chicago Bears.
Yikes.
Fish, what are your thoughts on that when you found out that was our first rushing touchdown in the second half in 27 games
By a running back.
by a running
Just
back?
Validation. I don't want to say it because it's a fishism, but I'm going to say it. Skol, Travis. No, that's not the fishism. It's our inability to move people off the line. We're zone blocking. We can't punch it in with the running back when we're within the 10-yard line. So that just validates that statement. Because we can't get that tough yard to score a touchdown when we're within the 10-yard line. So I mean that's just it. That's all there is. It's validation. I just didn't know it was that bad where we'd almost gone 2 entire full seasons without doing it. Oh my God, that's 5 games short of 2 full seasons of not being able to do that.
I'm blaming
Well,
one man.
B-Flow is not an offensive genius if he can't fix that, right, David?
KOC's not an offensive genius till he can fix that.
Yeah.
But who was our starter in 22 and 23?
Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
Cook was
Madison.
22.
And Madison for a few games, right?
Yep.
Dalvin Cook is now can't make a Cowboys roster. Alexander Madison plays for the worst rushing team in the league, so I can see why that makes sense right now. They were just talking the game we just watched with the Raiders. Alexander Madison plays for them. Their 7th round, 4th year guy, Game McCormick, is the first 70-yard rusher for the Raiders this year, which is that's crazy.
But Madison's doing way better with the Raiders than he did with us last year. So it might not be a running back problem.
Not anymore.
Aaron Jones been here for 11 games, and that's the first one.
And Cook 2 years ago.
Aaron Jones has more fumbles at the goal line than he has goal line touchdowns in the second half.
Hell yeah.
Alex Madison he hit his career yardage mark this year, and he didn't play in this game.
So maybe it's not the running back's problem. Maybe it's a offensive line problem. Maybe it's a play calling problem.
Yeah. There's no listen. We drafted a run zone offensive line, and now we're really paying for it. They're all small, quick guys that try to get to the second level, and they get no push in the middle. That's why we're not scoring. That is why we're not scoring touchdowns for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Shaq, your guy Caleb Williams had probably his best game of the season. 340 yards against us. He played very well. He looked very good, but our secondary looked very bad. Do you think even with our dominant defense, or as dominant as it's looked and been, that we can be Super Bowl contenders with our secondary looking the way it's looking? Muted.
Yes. The only reason I say yes is because we have beat teams with this bad secondary, with our secondary giving up all these yards. It's just I would like to see our secondary step up and limit how many yards they give up. But if it's not really that detrimental, because if it was really detrimental, we'd be getting blown out. Like, we wouldn't be having the lead, because every time we give the ball back, and we give the ball back a lot, we wouldn't be we'll let the team score. So we do have that to thank our secondary for. They get turnovers. Even if they allow a lot of yards, they get the turnovers to give us the ball back. So it's kind of like a quid pro quo situation, a little give and take. I would like to see them shut down these receivers, though.
I'm with Shaq on this one too, because I mean, the style of defense we play, we don't have to rely so much on our DBs, right? So it's the way our defense is playing. That game, we missed a lot of tackles on Caleb Williams in that backfield, right? He was in that pocket. Harrison Smith on that touchdown, that lob little touchdown pass he had, right? Our defense is meant to come get that quarterback, right? We missed that wide open tackle. Harrison Smith blew that tackle, completely blew the tackle. Tackled high. Caleb ducked, snuck out. Caleb even hurdled an old defensive lineman out of the pocket and was able to scramble around and throw that bomb, right? So I'm not going to put too much blame on the DBs because of the style of defense we play in. I'm blaming the guys that are coming to try to sack that quarterback and they don't get hands properly on them and don't wrap up properly.
I agree with that, and I'll give you a little bit of a different take on it. We're not scheming to do that. We're scheming to stop the run first, and as long as we can continue to stop the run first, we're going to give up some yards. We're going to give up some yards, just the way it is. If the other opposing teams gets 30, 40, 50, 90 yards in a game, guess what they're going to be doing? Throwing the ball. And if they move the ball at all, guess what? They're going to rack up the yards on offense. So I think we can win with these D-backs as long as the run holds up. If the run doesn't hold up, then we're in big trouble.
And that will be tested this week, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Let me throw another take on this. This defense is eerily similar to, I believe it was the 21 season, where we were leading the lead in sacks. We were still giving up big pass plays, but we were leading the lead in sacks. Our defense was holding up that way until Hunter went down. And then it was all on Everson Griffin. And then Griffin had his problems, and so we were without them, and then our defense fell apart. And for some reason, this defense kind of reminds me of that. So long as we still have our edge rushers who can get the pressure and get to the quarterback with a timely sack in a key position, our defense will be just fine.
Well, I'm glad you guys have confidence. I'm kind of scared, but to you guys' point, we are 9-2 with this defense. They are opportunistic, so I will give them that. They do come up with a turnover when it's needed. It hurts to watch sometimes when you're seeing the defense getting great pressure, even when they're not getting there, and the cornerbacks aren't doing their job. They're giving up 340 yards to Akayleb Williams. So, yes, like Robbie said, this game feels like it was a long time ago. So, Fish, what are your takeaways from this game, and who are you giving your game ball to?
All right, what's my takeaways? They needed an anomaly to get close to us and force us into overtime. And the Lions need an anomaly to not lose to them yesterday. This division is closer than anybody thinks. I stand by it that the Lions are going to lose a game. We're going to gain a game on them. Week 18 is going to be for the division. And we're going to smoke them. We're going to smoke the Lions in Detroit. They've basically got like third-round players starting for their defense. Our defense is going to stifle them just enough, make them one-dimensional. We're going to get out ahead of them, and we're going to kick the shit out of Detroit in Week 18 in Detroit. Campbell's going to cry. Here's my...
Fish is like, forget the rest of the season. Week 18.
I can look past this week because I'm a fucking fan. I'm not a player. I don't have to stay focused on this week.
I like that.
My focus doesn't relate to the effectiveness of this game.
Well, I feel mine does.
16,
Personally,
17,
I feel mine
18.
does.
Nah.
I feel if I get off my game and I'm mentally out of it, that the team's going to suffer for it.
I stopped thinking that my positive energy played effect in the game 20 years ago.
Me too.
But when do you think that I thought that my positive energy would help this team? You know me better than that. You know how I help.
I know
this
that.
team.
Yeah, that's just it. You staying negative is a positive. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You will us to victory through resolution of defeat.
And it hurts. It hurts. Like after every game, you don't see me icing myself after the games. Like it hurts to do all that negativity, but I will this team to victory. David Rinaldi, what are your takeaways from this game, and who's your game ball? Wait, did you give a game ball, Fish?
Hawkinson, baby. Quiet first half, only like 2 receptions in the first half, but when it came time to win the game in the second half and overtime, TJ Hawkinson showed TJ Hawkinson. He's back.
It was his comeback game for sure, man. It was really good to see it.
Sam Darnold now realizes it. Sam Darnold now realizes, wait a minute, I've got another weapon, and he's pretty damn good. So here we go, baby.
We've seen a lot of yak from him, too, this game.
Yeah, we
He was
did.
getting a lot of yards after the catch.
Him and Oliver together, man, that's pretty tight.
What are your takeaways, Rinaldi, and who's your game ball?
Takeaway is that, look, that last minute and a half, whatever it was really hard to watch. But and all the momentum was going against the Minnesota Vikings, and our coach, our team, we showed how resilient we actually are. It was still a road win. I did not enjoy it. It was not fun to watch, but at the end of the day, we stacked another freaking win. To the point we made a little bit earlier, all these guys that go down and get hurt, and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah keeps doing a lot of the right things. My game ball goes to John Parker Romo. This guy he's no Reichard, but my man is playing some football. Now, I don't want to go too crazy on this because I don't want to jinx him, so I will shut up with that. My man is kicking some field goals, and he's doing it in clutch situations, and let's hope he can continue to do it. But he gets a game ball for him coming out and walking off, which I predicted in this game, with a win. So my hot take hit for those of you who think our hot takes suck.
Holy moly, you did say we would win on a walk-off.
Yeah.
I did. This whole week, I didn't. You have so many hot takes still in play. Like, I didn't even register that you actually hit
He
that
actually
one.
gave an immediate hot take. It's amazing.
That's
You know
crazy.
what's crazy? So did you hear what he said after the game? He did like a little speech. He said, "Walk into your trap and take over your trap."
Isn't that what Kirk said?
Did he?
Kirk said that?
I think Kirk said that in Atlanta too.
I need to look that up. That don't look like that's some Kirk vocabulary.
He's in Atlanta now, man. Cody, what was your takeaways and who's your game ball?
So my takeaways of the game, I think we're starting to finally see the offense being what we wanted the offense to be. Honestly, you look at the stats right now: Addison over 150, Hawkson over 100, Jones over 100, Sam Darnold's playing good. And it kind of started during the Tennessee game. Like, we started little glimpses of it. We're seeing what we got to see, right? And then this week we saw the offense finally kind of open up. And you can say, oh, Justin Jefferson held. Okay, Justin Jefferson doesn't need to be a focal point in this offense because we have so many weapons on this offense. Everybody can be a focal point in this offense. So my takeaway this week is seeing this offense finally open up, right? And that's big for us because that's what we've been waiting for. We didn't have to rely on the defense this time. We had to rely on the offense, right? My game ball, before I got to pause and head out here real quick, my game ball is going to Jonathan Greenard, because in overtime, when you needed a sack, you needed to stop all the momentum. He did it. He went back there and sacked Caleb Williams. We got the ball back, and that's all it took is one drive. So with that, I'll be back here in about 20 minutes.
Oof.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. So for me, my takeaway was that this is just Vikings football. We're going to play to the level of our competition. There's nothing I could do about that. I can't neg it. I can't positive it. It's not going to change. That's just who we are. If we're playing a good team, we're going to play good football. If we're playing a bad team, we're going to play good football, except enough bad football to let them stay in the game. And that's just what it is. Our hearts aren't going to get any better this year, but we can win this way. A win isn't a win, but I'll take them. So
I'll challenge you on that a little bit. The Bears are not a bad team. They're just not. They're a badly coached team.
They're not,
a lot of talent.
We haven't had a good win in the last three that, we were on that road game for. And okay, we were on the road, so I'll give them a little bit of grace for that. But we played three teams that aren't going to make the playoffs, and none of them were very convincing. So
Keith won a 50-0 point win.
I was happy with, okay, we're gonna win this game by 11. Okay, this feels good because it's a divisional game. I felt good about that, and then it's just nope, we can't have that. And I'm learning to accept that, which I feel like I have to relearn to accept that every year. And now it's coming into turn right now for this season. So I'm accepting it. We're gonna win however we win, and I'm gonna take it. And all you gotta do is get into the playoffs, I guess, and anything can happen there. So that's kind of where I'm at mentally after this game. I'm gonna be honest. When they recovered that onside kick, it broke me. It broke me. Like, I was like, I can't. This is like the worst thing that I could imagine happening in a football game. Like, I even said to the guys, I don't want to be a Viking fan anymore.
Yeah, you did too.
Like that one like broke me. Even when we won, like I didn't celebrate. I didn't clap. I just went, got up and came and turned on my laptop to do the show. Like, I didn't get excited about it at all. But I'm accepting the wins how they come. My game ball, I'm taking the easy one, and I'm going to Jordan Addison. My man had 8 catches, 162 yards, and a touchdown. And anytime he performs, I'm going to give him my game ball. Me and Shaq were big on him in the draft, and he's starting to come around and prove us right. And it's not even his fault that he wasn't coming around. Like Fish said about TJ Hawkinson, Sam Darnold's learning, hey, I got these other weapons. It's not just JJ all the time. So Addison got his chance. He proved it. He performed. I think he has, 3 touchdowns the last 4 games. So he's showing that he could be that wide receiver too. He could be the Robin to JJ being Batman. I'm scared that maybe he ends up playing too good and plays his way out of Minnesota because wide receiver 2, someone always gives them a chance to get paid elsewhere. I hope that's not the case. I hope we can keep these guys together for a while. But if not, I'm enjoying it right now, and Jordan Addison's getting my game ball. Shaq, your takeaways in your game ball.
So my takeaway is we gotta look at this division and know it's not going to be easy. We got a lot of talent in this division. You can see by the record. And to go off of that, Chicago, who's probably the worst team, they played 3 divisional games in a row. And all those games, they lost by less than a field goal. So they not to be slept on.
That's a good point.
We're going to have to prepare for, I would say, Caleb Williams and that Lions offense. So I want the Vikings to go full course defense heavy in the next couple free agencies and draft. because I feel like our offense is kind of set, but I don't want to keep going back and forth like having 40-point games against our divisional opponents. I want to be able to shut them down because if we could stop our divisional opponents, who seem to be the best in the NFC, we should be able to beat mostly any NFL team.
Who's your game ball?
So my game ball is going to slinging Sammy D. Sam Donald, he showed in this game when it mattered most, we could kind of rely on him. We kind of needed to see this from Sam Donald. Like, yeah, we got the lead. The defense isn't doing all they can to, help us stay with the lead. But when it came down to overtime, he threw 90 of his 330 yards, and he led a 10-point play drive, hitting T.J. Hockenson a couple times to get us into field goal range after starting on our own 21 to get us a game-winning field goal. So, he kind of deserves a little credit for it, that win.
Definitely. Not gonna argue with that at all. He had a good game. There are some points where it felt like maybe struggling a little bit, but he put together two back-to-back games. Sam Darnold has, so pretty impressive. What is also impressive is this is the first time in the Vikings history that they've won back-to-back road games. I mean, I don't know how many times they've had to play 3 road games in a row, but this is the first time that they've won 3 in a row on the road. So that's a pretty impressive feat, no matter who they're lined up against, no matter how the wins looked. That's pretty good. Cody kind of brought it up earlier about Justin Jefferson not having the stats and stuff like that, but he's making his impact on the field. And I had asked us in our group chat, okay, we know Justin Jefferson's making a big impact on the game. Does he know that? Does he respect what he's doing? Or is he going to get frustrated and is he going to want to try to push his way out of here because he's not getting the ball? A star wide receiver, 2 catches for 27 yards. That's not going to make him too happy, especially when your buddy Jamar Chase is in Cincinnati lighting everything up. But after the game, it's, either I could eat or I could let everybody else eat. And I'm going to choose to let everybody else eat. So to me, that showed leadership, that showed growth. What do you think about hearing that, Fish? From a wide receiver, a position that's normally seen as a diva, he's like saying he knows he's making his impact and he's helping those guys eat and it's going to team success.
Well, I mean, thankfully, he's not causing a problem. He's showing maturity. He's showing team leadership. Thankfully. Because it could easily happen, and let's be real, he's eating very well. He's still, I think, the highest paid non-QB player. So okay, the man got his money, so now he can afford to just care about wins, right? And I'm not saying that that's the way he's thinking, but I'm just saying that okay. And to us, that's the most important thing, too, as fans. I don't care if Justin Jefferson catches a damn pass, if he's going to get 45 yards in pass interference yards and set us up for a touchdown that way. I don't care. I mean, he's getting close to that 1,500-yard mark, I said, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he scored more touchdowns this year than he has any season so far. So he's getting close to doing exactly what I thought he needed to do to earn my respect for that contract. I couldn't be happier other than with a Super Bowl win. And, yeah, beautiful. I hope he's saying that in private to other players as well. I hope he's not grumbling on the sideline. I hope he's not showing any dissatisfaction in the huddle. If it's all like that, it's beautiful, and it's much needed for this franchise.
Beautiful.
So to that,
Beautiful.
I'll say it's more so like you could see it when I think Naylor scored. Justin Jefferson was happy. They had the little handshake and everything. It's just like if Justin Jefferson open and let's say it's like a third down, we need to get the first, and Justin Jefferson open, and then Sam Donald just throw an incomplete pass. That's where you start to see the diva in him because I was open, you didn't get it to nobody else, and now we gotta punt the ball. It's kind of frustrating when you did everything right and it's still a mess up and it's not really your fault. So it's kind of like, he's the only thing keeping him happy right now is like you said, Fish, the money. But like if he's not getting the ball and we're not getting first downs and touchdowns, it's like, what are we doing here?
Hey, Shaq, I'm glad you brought up that Naylor touchdown because when I rewatched it, I realized something about that. Naylor ran the exact same route that JJ ran against the Colts. Remember that one where he
against Gilmore?
Against Gilmore. It was the exact same route. Yep.
Here's the thing about Jefferson to me, though. he has embraced the idea of being a team captain, number one. And I think that showed, and I think that showed in the way he rooted on other guys that had a great game. However, I also think that Justin Jefferson is all about being having a legacy in this league. He wants to be the greatest wide receiver of all time, and you cannot be the greatest wide receiver of all time unless you win a fucking Super Bowl. And yep. So I'll tell you what, I do not think that he's a diva in any sense of the word. I do think that it's frustrating for him to have a 2-catch game. I don't think it's frustrating when they're 9-2 and he's the captain of the team that's going after a legacy, and he's that guy. I'm sorry, he just is.
I hate you so much, Rinaldi. I was about to say, ever since that C got put on his shoulder, and he don't care about what's going on, it's all about his legacy. I think he is one of the greats. Like, if you look at the greats like Jerry Rice only cared about legacy, right? I'm not comparing him to Jerry Rice right now, right? But he just compares about his legacy. That's all he wants to see. He's got that C on his shoulder pad. That's all he cares about as captain. Everybody gets fed because at the end of the day, he knows that he's going to be scoring a lot of yards. He's going to be in this league for a very long time. And I think that when his maturity that greatly expanded, dude, because you look at all the receivers that are divas out there, they're not greats. They're good, but they're not greats, right? Jerry Rice didn't have an ego, a big, massive ego to where he wants to get traded and wants to leave, right? But I think Justin Jefferson's one of those guys. Is one of those generational players.
Listen, guys, I said the greatest. I didn't say great. I didn't say fabulous. I didn't say amazing. He's already that. I said the greatest. So take that, put it in your pipe, and smoke it.
Now, I will say this. We go on a 3-game losing streak, and he's only getting 2 catches a game, and he's not getting the ball to him. We're going to see something else come out if he thinks he could help us win a football game and we're losing.
Hell yeah.
Well, hopefully he can help us win a game this weekend. We got the 6-5 Arizona Cardinals coming into town where we get to start a 3-game homestand instead of a road stand. We're favored by 3.5, which is pretty typical for a home team, which I felt is a little bit disrespectful, but we'll see. Vikings are 18-12 all time against the Cardinals, but have won the last 7 of the last 10 games they've played. The last 3 of 4 would be 4-4 if Greg Joseph didn't miss a damn field goal. So, Kyler Murray, he missed half of last season, but he's back this year. Looks back to his form. You know, he's out there running, moving around, getting out of the pocket, either taking off with it or making a throw downfield. He's looking good again. They have one of the best running games in the NFL. Their defense, I really don't have a read on. Just by looking at their stats, it looks like they're middle of the pack, but we'll get a little bit of information on that in a minute. I just want to know, before we bring on our enemies, which we do have enemies, SKOLing with the enemy coming on, what is your opinion on the Arizona Cardinals, Rinaldi?
Bro, I mean, this year's team is they're playing pretty well in a weak division, a surprisingly weak division. So to me, they're a mediocre team that's kind of playing well enough to challenge for the division win. I think last week hurt them a lot. I think that there's other teams that are going to continue to, beat each other up. And it's not going to be, that's a team we should beat. That's what I think. And when you look at the franchise as a whole, I'm sorry, man. It's not been a historical great franchise. It's one of the oldest ones. It's the first chartered team in the NFL, and they've really not got a lot to show for it. And I don't think this year they're going to show much either. We should beat this team. That's what I think about them.
Ooh, lighting a fire. Cody,
what are
your thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals?
Don't be sorry, Rinaldi. They're sorry.
I didn't tell them to be sorry.
Sorry against franchise. I'm sorry, Arizona. Yes, I did witness you guys go to the Super Bowl. I thought Larry Fitzgerald put on the greatest one-man performance I've ever seen in a football ever put off in a playoff run. My takeaways this game is if we play them like we played the Seahawks, i.e. blitz, 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 That's how you get Kyler Murray. All we have to do is tackle, wrap up. I'm telling you, Kyler Murray got sacked by a guy from Minnesota named Bowie Mafe. I think it was twice in that game. Bowie Mafe ain't something you write about, right? But he's having a nice little season going on, but it's not something. He's not one of those superstars. So if he can get home twice, I'm sure our guys, our 4, can get home twice also.
All right. Fish, you got a read on the Cardinals?
Here's my one real concern. I really wasn't worried about this game until we played the Bears. And then I saw Akayleb Williams absolutely fake our edge rushers out of their pads. He made Van Ginkel look stupid. And I'm a little worried that Kyler Murray's pretty elusive. If he can see the rush coming, he's going to do that Mighty Mouse shit, and he's going to really he's going to escape the pocket. He's going to get out there and make plays. So I'm a little concerned about that. Other than that, I'm not.
Yeah, Fish, I agree with you. I was surprised to see them commit to like jumping, like getting faked out and not like holding their point of attack. That was kind of not what I wanted to see out of that defense. They really let Akayleb do more than he should have done. I mean, honestly, if Van Ginkel like stayed where he should have been, it wouldn't happen.
And even that play where, Van Ginkel, he was right there to get another pick six, and Akayleb Williams was like, nah, pimp. He cocked it back, and then he threw it over him to, what was it, Keenan Allen? And,
yeah.
But, I mean, Akayleb Williams was not exactly wrong when he said, I've got the defense figured out. He did some good things against our defense, and I think that if Kyler can be elusive and slip out and do some of that Mighty Mouse shit, he could give us some issues.
What about you, Shaq? What's your read on the Cardinals?
So my read on the Cardinals is I'm not as worried as a lot of people would be, because the Cardinals is a run-first team. Like, if you watch how the Cardinals play, they rely more on their run game, and then they want to do the play action with Kyler Murray, and then maybe try to hit their receivers or force it to Marvin Harrison Jr., or, have Kyler Murray run. But if we could stop that running game, this should be a pretty good win for us. I'm not saying a blowout, but it should be a win for us.
All right. Probably got them all heated up now, so let's go ahead and bring on our Cardinals fans, and let's get a little bit of difference of opinion here. First, we got Joseph, and we got David.
How we doing?
What's going on, fellas?
What's happening?
Skol.
Joe, you're muted.
I'm excited for this weekend. 40-point blowout coming in. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited.
I mean, you have more confidence in us than we do at this point, Joe. Thinking we're only going to win by 40.
So, guys, welcome to the show. Joseph, give us your background on being an Arizona Cardinals fan.
So, obviously, me and David, a little bit younger than a lot of y'all here, obviously. I venture to guess a lot younger than a good amount of the Vikings fan group, I would say. It's been an interesting life growing up. Always been a Cardinals fan. All Arizona sports, obviously. We don't need to talk about basketball or anything. We'll keep it to football because I don't really want to talk about the Timberwolves or anything either. But Minnesota and all that kind of stuff. I've grown up with a lot of those good matchups and a lot of those Vikings, and kind of grown up just watching the team. Obviously, it's tough. Like you guys said, it's been a tough upbringing. But it is what it is. I figure out what to do with the hand I'm dealt, and that's being a Cardinals fan. So that's kind of how it's been for me. David, what do you think?
Yeah, it's been a tough upbringing for sure. We've seen a lot of pain. We've seen a lot of bad teams. This year feels a little different. Hopefully, we went on a little win streak. Kind of got the win taken out our sails last week. So hoping for something different for once. Just every kind of sports team here has failed us, unfortunately. So yeah, hoping for something different this year.
Can you imagine these guys are talking to Vikings fans about pain?
I mean, they pretty much experienced the same thing we have. I think they played the same defense who was bounty gating that fucked up Kurt Warner.
Of the 5 people that are Vikings fans on this panel, 2 of us have been alive to see us in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I've never seen us play in a Super Bowl.
Nope.
See, I've seen us lose the Super Bowl.
They
That's
gave
cool,
us
man.
That's
That's cool.
They gave us pain
We're
and heartbreak.
jealous.
I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough living with that now, man. All I do, we have friends that are Steeler fans, and it doesn't matter. If we won 80-0 in a game, man, but how about that Super Bowl? And then we can't say anything anymore. You know, that's just the way it has to
and
be.
unfortunately, it's one of the most iconic plays of all time. So there's that too.
Antonio Holmes,
It's played on every highlight film.
every highlight, top 10 plays in Super Bowl history. It's number 2 or 1. It's one of the two, bro.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Thanks. And then number 4 or 5 is always Larry Fitzgerald slants across the middle in the exact same game. Like, yeah,
See,
that's
the thing
tough.
is, you
Harrison
guys-
touchdown.
I
Yeah.
just thought about something with y'all's age. You're not even old enough to remember Rod Tidwell catching that touchdown against the Dallas Cowboys
Mm-mm.
to put the Cardinals in the playoffs.
I might not be old enough to remember that.
Because you didn't watch Jerry Maguire.
Talking about Jerry Maguire.
You know, Keith, remind them about the heartbreak that they gave us a while back.
Oh,
Yeah.
with our current quarterback coach Josh McCown throwing the Hail Mary that knocked us out of the playoffs.
The push out.
They were probably like 3 years old.
3 years old, yeah. I think we were 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Depending, I think I
Definitely
was
don't
3.
remember that one.
Yeah.
I do.
But to be fair, the interesting thing is the Vikings have still owned, for the most part, this quote unquote rivalry. We actually play each other like a decent amount. It's kind of weird. We play each other like a fairly decent amount in comparison to some other divisions. But you guys have owned this rivalry for quite a bit now. We've had a couple wins here and there. I think we had one. I think might have won one with Cliff, but one of those where they're just usually good games that end up not swaying our way, not getting the ball our way. But then they're, again, same thing where you have some games that go our way. 2015, strip sack at the 30-yard line to give us a 3-point win. Couple of other just interesting matchups more than anything. And a lot of, we've talked about, you guys have had, a large kind of influx of quarterbacks the past couple of years. We've had a consistent one other than the injury and everything like that. But we were very much in that kind of realm of unsureness with our quarterback when we drafted Rosen. Didn't go well. And then Chosen Rosen made, what was it, 10 mistakes ahead of him. So, actually ended up being 100 mistakes. But besides the point, it was one of those where it was just it's always been a good rivalry. It's always been a good matchup.
Also a Viking, by the way.
Yeah, he was a Viking
for a little bit.
practice
He had a
squad.
cup of coffee with us. Right?
When he goes to the Hall of Fame, he's going in as a Viking.
So you guys are both in Arizona, right?
You can have him. I don't want him. I do not want him anymore.
You guys are both in
Fellas, I got a
Arizona.
question for you about
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, if I could.
No, you can't.
Because it's been a couple of years since you've had him healthy for the whole season. So Kyler Murray tends to start off hot. You guys get up and you run well, and then like the last 5 games of the season, you'll slow down. So in your line of sight, what has caused that in the past?
David, you want to take this one? Talk a little bit about how we hate Cliff here.
Yeah, fingers crossed that that's a Cliff issue, not a Kyler issue. We're kind of seeing the Cliff drop off in Washington over there. We're kind of hoping that's the case, but yeah, unfortunately, we haven't really seen Kyler finish the season strong. Yeah, obviously, 2021 was the year where things kind of went our way. We had a great record, but we just sputtered down the stretch. And obviously, you guys remember the playoff game against the Rams. Just we got destroyed, dismantled. Luckily, they went on to win the Super Bowl, so it's not too bad losing to the Super Bowl champs. But yeah, something about us coming off a bye too, man. We just look so sluggish and just out of sorts out of a bye. Like that's how we looked last week. The offense just couldn't do anything. 6 points. Just bad. So we definitely need to see Kyler kind of lock in and stick to his guns and just trust in the offense, trust in his guys, and just get down the stretch and get that off his back for sure.
I'm gonna
So
tell
what do
you
expect
guys.
from him this game?
My bad. I'm gonna let you guys. What I thought last week, right? You watched the Seattle's defense sack Kyler Murray 5 times, right? And it's a very they ran a very complex defense against Kyler Murray. I think when the defense get really complex, he gets kind of confused. They ran a similar defensive style that we've been running all year long. You've seen 2 guys with the hands on the dirt, everybody else standing up. Sometimes you saw everybody standing up, right? And they came in and they got Kyler Murray, kind of confused him. We're going to come at you with that same type of defense. How are you going to try to figure that out? What do you think your team is going to do? How's Kyler Murray going to adapt to that?
I'll take this one, David. So what's interesting is kind of what you guys, I've been watching you guys' show the whole time today too. And Fish brought up a good point about Akayleb and kind of that I would say the scare. I would say like it's one of those where like I would count it as a scare. I mean, that's a crazy game to win, crazy game if you lose to lose. And I think that's kind of what is interesting when you look at the Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon, coming from the Philadelphia Eagles, is a D coordinator, not really well versed in that realm of teaching offenses. But one thing that he is incredibly good at, which you've seen with the Eagles and with their Eagles defense when he was there, was getting the most out of guys after something bad has happened. We've seen this year. I mean, last year, tough because we had Josh Dobbs as our quarterback, which, hey, you guys also another. You guys love to coach our guys. I'm not going to lie. You guys, you got Byron Murphy, Patrick Peterson. Dude, yeah, crazy. But besides the point, one of those where Jonathan Gannon has been seen as, I mean, we see the problems in Philly and how people kind of disregard Nick Sirianni and like don't think he really does anything for them. Jonathan Gannon has been known to pull the best out of his guys when something goes wrong. And I think that, I mean, that game was an anomaly for us. When it comes to the O-line, I mean, we've been one of the best pass protecting O-lines in the league. We haven't had a lot of sacks. We haven't allowed a lot of like sacks that are just pressure based too. Kyler takes a few of those where he's like rolling out, and then the messes up and just slides down, whatever it is, which count those as sacks obviously as well. But we haven't seen a lot of those just like free rushes, free problems. And I think one of the things that is interesting is when you look at the Jets game and you saw Kyler Murray get, I mean, absolutely decleated on one rep, proceeded to dial up two fantastic throws, one to McBride and one to Marv. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot this weekend. Is this kind of, you guys have made comments about your secondary being a little struggling a lot, but your run defense being stout. We've seen the Cardinals this year kind of have those problems. And in a few games it works out, a few games it doesn't. The Dolphins game, we saw them figure out, hey, run's not working, throw it to Marvin Trey. The Niners game, the Rams game, it was like, well, he can't get much going running-wise. Let's throw the pass, and then we can try and get back to the run later. One thing that was interesting last week was that the Cardinals did not utilize James Conner. And it was weird to me that they decided to go with Trey Benson instead. And I thought it was just kind of a weird decision because when you come down to like those games, like those grindy games of, I mean, that game is 9-6 without a pick. When you come to those kind of games where you have these defenses that are scheming a lot, usually you have offenses that just are like, yeah, we're going to pound the rock. So their D-line is at least somewhat tired come late game, and you can start to dial up stuff later. We didn't see any of that. It was Trey Benson outside handoffs and trying to get him outside. And it was just like, and again, like you guys have said, the divisional games, it's different. You can't count those as the same games. You guys versus the Bears versus the Packers, the line, like us versus the Seahawks, the Niners, the Rams. You're getting the best out of each other. And I think that's what we saw out of the Seahawks was their best, which I think is 16 points. I'm going to be honest. The Seahawks don't really move me. They're just kind of a great team against us. They love playing against us. They own the last 6 games against us. And I think we're going to see a lot of that kind of Kyler having to figure out how to adjust his run style more than anything. You're going to see a lot of the RPO. You're going to see a lot of the read option for him off that edge. And I think if he's cooking in that realm, they're great. If he's not cooking in that realm, if he's not rushing, it's very difficult for him to get going. And that opens up a lot more stuff, obviously, as he's a running dual threat quarterback.
Joe, you mentioned James Conner. I understand he's had a lot more fumbles than he normally does this year. Is that one of the reasons he disappears in games?
I don't think so. It's been interesting just because of the way that, like, the teams that I think he had one against the Packers. He had one against the Commanders. It's been interesting to see him, and he's another one of those guys where he's been hurt. He usually gets hurt. He's known to get hurt. Pre-bye, he gets a week in the bye, and then he's out for like 2 more weeks of the season. And I think that's one of the things that's been interesting. And I think that the Cardinals are still trying to find, I mean, we're exceeding expectations. I mean, in Arizona, on college football, ASU's exceeding expectations football-wise.
Bro, we're exceeding expectations.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the things that's interesting for the Cardinals is that they're so young and new that they don't really know, like, do we continue to go with Conner? Do we want Trey Benson to get these hard-nosed reps because we want him to be that running back in the future? And I think that that's kind of where we see Drew Petzing, who mixed reviews so far. He's had great games. He's had terrible games so far, at least coaching-wise. But I think that's kind of why we see this weird development. They want to get multiple running backs in to get multiple looks to make defenses think they're going to be doing something different. And then Drew Petzing just dials up the exact same run he would run for Conner. He just gives it to Trey Benson instead. And it's like, okay, well, we didn't really do much there in tricking a defense. And I think that's why we're seeing more Benson, more DeMercado, and less Kyler runs, less.
Well, you know that we have the number 1 run defense in the league, right? Do you think you can get these guys going?
My only thing is,
if we stop that run, are you guys going to be able to compete?
My only thing is,
I trust Kyler.
Strength of schedule has been beneficial to y'all. Other than the division, you guys have played the Titans, the Texans, who else?
Oh, the Texans are terrible. They were in the AFC Championship.
Titans are terrible, but the Texans are. You played? Did they have
That
Nico?
was last
I don't know
year.
if they had Nico.
We beat
And
the
they look terrible.
49ers before they caught the injury bug.
Oh yeah, well we did too though. Only person they didn't have against us was Debo. That was the only person they didn't have against us. That's more my thing. Your guys' combined record of the teams you played against is like 44-60. Ours is 70-51, and I just think that's more. Which again, it's good for y'all. I mean, when it comes down to it, you play the games you get. It's not about anything else. I mean, you guys, you win a game, you play the game, and that's all you do. I think the Cardinals, that post-Lions game, we're struggling. We're seeing the teams that play against them struggle with their health after. I mean, and now we're seeing the Lions struggle with their own health because of how they play. And I think that's just the main thing that I'm nervous about when it comes, or that I'm excited about, is that I haven't seen you guys play well against those running quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is a young analog of what Kyler is, and I think a way less talented Kyler, at least at the moment. I mean, he could be.
So Joe, you're predicting that we're going to be hurt after this game, kind of. That's what you're kind of.
I think this will be the first run-heavy game that actually is difficult in the past 6 weeks. Besides the Lions and everything else, more than anything, I think the other run offenses you played against have not been great.
Put a number on the over/under for rush yardage for the Cardinals.
Over/under rush yard, including everybody, including Kyler and everything.
Sure. I'll put it at 61.
And I would put it at maybe 90. I think I'll put it at 90. I think they're either breaking 100.
Wait, you're getting excited about 90 yards, bro.
If they can break 100, the odds are high, because if they're breaking 100, that's a mix of everybody. James Conner is not getting 100 yards rushing. It just is not something he does.
Move on to another subject, man. 90 yards.
I'm just saying, our rushing offense is not built on them running very much. It's giving James Conner those yards after contact. You guys have made it very obvious. You guys cannot tackle at that second level. And James Conner has the most broken tackles in the league right now. Past Derrick Henry, past Saquon Barkley. If the O-line functions the way they're supposed to, James Conner, Kyler, all those guys are going to have an insane amount of yards after the first line of defense.
I hate to break it to you, buddy, but you don't have the number one run defense with only having tacklers at the first level.
You have the number one run defense against four terrible teams the past 4 weeks.
And our cornerbacks can tackle on the edge.
Our passing game with our secondary sucks. They can
So do you think that somehow Trey McBride, who's arguably the best tight end, second best tight end in the league right now, is just going to be stifled because the run offense doesn't work?
I'm going to tell you this. This is what's going to happen.
Tight end that went off.
The Seahawks ran the same exact defense B-Flow did against you guys last week. 0 blitz, put 2 down linemen, everybody else is standing up, and Kyler had a really, really bad time.
I'm gonna add one caveat.
What are we talking about? Kyler had a bad time. He had 285.
One caveat to that.
3 points.
He got sacked a lot. Kyler got sacked a lot, but in our defense, they did start a right tackle that had been injured all year, Jonah Williams, and he had a horrible game. We had Kelvin Beachum in there. He was solid. Honestly, I didn't notice him on the field, which is a good thing when you don't notice when linemen are playing because they're not making mistakes. So they put Jonah Williams in. He was getting burnt. I think he let up 2 sacks. So I think he needed to get that out of the system. Hopefully he'll have a better performance this week. I think they're mad. Obviously they're coming off a 4-game win streak. They're playing really well, pounding the rock, just brutalizing teams. I think they're going to get back and give you guys a tough game at least. At the very minimum.
You know who else didn't notice them on the field? The Seahawks.
Exactly. But again, you're taking the one anomaly game of the Seahawks. Other than that, the Cardinals have allowed a top 10 sacks in the league. The Cardinals do not allow sacks other than the Seahawks game. It is the only game they've allowed sacks. And again, you can say I think you guys lead in sacks. You can say complex defense, whatever. There's a reason teams are putting up 30 without offenses, though, without run offenses. And you're playing against one of the better run offenses in the league more than anything. I think that the pass offense is going to – I think this will be an insane game passing-wise for the Cardinals. At least I hope so. Marvin hasn't had an insane year like we kind of hope. You see Malik Neighbors going crazy. A couple of the other guys going crazy. Wanted Marv to have a little bit better of the year, but it's been a coming out party for Trey McBride and highlight after highlight this year. And I think that the secondary guys and those guys who are struggling offensively to catch balls and everything like that, this is their coming out game. You don't need the run offense to do
against receivers. Against receivers, tight ends, we got you covered. Blake Cashman got what McBride needs.
I'm just saying.
I don't believe that one.
Trey McBride is a top two tight end, and no one has stopped him so far in any game so far.
Yeah.
So what would you consider stopping him? Like, what would be you consider a bad game for him?
Well, it's interesting because he doesn't have touchdowns, but he leads in. I mean, he's insane in reception.
He has a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, but receiving wise, more than anything, we don't really throw touchdowns in the red zone anyways. I mean, you're playing against the second best red zone offense in the league right now, and it's interesting because they don't throw any touchdowns. They run everything in, and it's a complete rushing attack. Kyler, I mean, Trey's involved in the rushing.
Hey, yards wise, what's a bad game? What's a bad game yards wise?
Bad game yards wise, I would count receptions more than anything because he might have 90 yards, but he'll have 8 first downs more than anything. I would say bad game for Trey McBride is sub 75 receiving yards. I mean, I don't remember how many yards he had last week, but he had, I think, 12 receptions or 11 receptions on 12 targets. He just doesn't drop the ball more than anything.
You know what they say about Trey McBride? All he does is not score touchdowns.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. I don't care if he's not scoring touchdowns. If he's converting every third down, if he's getting us down into the red zone, and then we just have to run the ball. I mean, you can say that he doesn't score touchdowns. There's a reason he doesn't score touchdowns. If you don't score touchdowns, it's just because James Conner's running the ball instead.
60 to 70.
Cardinals, David.
Really good game for a tight end, though. That's a
Cardinals,
really good.
David.
My
I'm
bad.
going to give you a chance to get in here for a second. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
The boy Joseph came at us and said, and speaking in no uncertain terms, that our strength of schedule was what it was, and that y'all have played teams with like a 70 and whatever. And I just looked it up. The only team with a winning record that you guys have beaten is the Chargers.
Damn.
So come on, David, bring it. Bring some noise. You've been quiet. Your boy Joe's been giving it to us. Come on, man. Give it to me.
Hey, to be fair, we did beat the Chargers. Do look pretty good. You got to admit they're a pretty good team. We did beat San Francisco. We also beat the Rams. Those teams are not pushovers, and you guys know it. Like, let's not sit here and lie. The Rams won a Super Bowl. The Niners are in it every single year. We beat them. We also beat the Jets, who people thought, I mean, obviously they're not good. They're not as advertised, but we did beat them. And we also beat the Dolphins. That they didn't have Tua. I honestly think that if they had Tua, their record would be a lot better than what it is right now. He's been playing well. Obviously, he lost to the Packers, but we already know what they do in cold weather. They're not good at all for whatever reason. But I definitely think that you guys are underestimating this team, especially defensively. I think the Cardinals are giving a lot of people a lot more headaches than you realize. I mean, the last 3 weeks we haven't let up more than 17 points. So I think for any NFL offense, that is that's really good for any defense to kind of do that to an NFL level offense.
12-6 Vikings. You heard it here. Yeah.
I'm happy.
I think it could be a field goal fest for sure. I think it'll be like one of those games where it's like this was the most unentertaining, or maybe like one touchdown. Like I could see JJ hitting one touchdown. Like similar. I very much think this game will be very similar to the Seahawks game. It just depends on if Kyler makes a pick or not more than anything because of the strength of kickers and because both teams don't rely on the run, but have strong run offenses and then rely on those big plays from their big guys more than anything. But I think it could easily be like, 15-18 game or something where it's like, man, that was an interesting game to say the least. Everybody got stopped at the 20-yard line more than anything.
So we know about Kyler Murray.
Your kicker's Matt Prater, right?
It is not Matt Prater. It was Matt Prater. He's been on the IL for a long time.
It's been pretty clutch.
Yeah, and Chad Ryland. Chad Ryland's our current kicker who came in. I think the Niners game was the first game and hit the game winner the first game out, which was wild. We have not had the benefit before Matt Prater. We did not have the benefit of kickers more than anything.
Yeah, you got no Romos though.
Yeah, fair. But one of those where I think it's been interesting to see Chad Ryland perform because he had 3 or 2 David game winners because he beat the Chargers. Chargers, Niners. 2. Did he have one against the Dolphins? Oh, he had a game winner against the Dolphins, but we had a game sealing pick. Was what then won the game for us against the Dolphins. Was the sack pick. That was the Niners. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, he's been great. He missed his last one, which sucked because it was an irrelevant field goal. And I'm one of those people who's like, bro, you have a job. Go kick that field goal at the end of the game. Make it 9-16. Make it at least a little bit less embarrassing. And he missed the last field goal. So we could see the downfall now because he ended a week on a miss. kickers do not do well when they end games on misses going into the next game. So it'd be interesting to see how it goes more than anything moving forward. But
So, fellas,
So tell us about your defense. Like, I feel like we know about your running game. We know about Kyler Murray, and Trey McBride's the best tight end to ever be on a football field. But let us know about your defense. I have no read on your defense.
yeah, David, you give him this part. It's been interesting. It's been interesting as a Cardinals fan watching the defense.
Yeah. I personally really enjoy watching our defense play. I think Budda Baker is one of the best safeties in the league. He is just an absolute machine. He comes flying towards the ball. Like, he just has a nose for the ball. He's always in the play. I think our secondary is also very underrated. You know, we have some pretty high draft picks. Max Melton, second-round pick. Garrett Williams. I forget which round he was drafted in, but they're playing really well. Young guys that are just hungry, and they're out there, and they're playing. They're hitting. Very physical. We have Kaiser White, Zayvon Collins at linebacker. So they're making plays. They're out there. The only thing that is suspect about our defense is the pass rush. I will give you guys that. We don't have a name. We don't have a guy that, you know, is good for 15 sacks a year. Just definitely not. That's not this year's team. We had BJ Ojulari that we were expecting to kind of come in and, you know, maybe pop, but unfortunately tore his ACL in the offseason. So we're still kind of waiting. So what we've been doing is kind of just, hey guys, let's all pitch in. You know, everyone's like, if we get 5 sacks in the game, it'll be like one guy gets sacked, other guy gets sacked. So they're kind of just playing by committee right now, and it's been working. We were able to pressure Geno last week a lot. I mean, he was having a horrible day. That's why their offense didn't really do much. But yeah.
So, David, what you're saying is Buddha's going to look great in purple next year.
Definitely not. No, dude, Buddha is a Cardinal for life.
It has
100%.
been insane. Again, like we said earlier, just the amount of players that come from the Cardinals to the Vikings, it is actually entertaining to see because, I mean, Patrick Peterson it's odd because he's beloved by some and he is hated by other people in Arizona. And me and David grew up in the golden years of Patrick Peterson. And Byron Murphy, I mean, he's a Arizona grown guy, went to college out, or went to high school out here and stuff. And it was cool when he came back, and he was kind of sus for for a year or two. And then it started to look like, you know, hey, maybe we're getting it together. And then they decided, and then obviously because of all the stuff with Cliff and how the years had gone, it was, hey, we got to make a decision, part ways with everyone that we possibly can, start bringing in new people, and just do something else. So it is pretty funny to see the
one who was destined to go from Arizona to the Vikings never materialized. We never got Larry Fitzgerald.
No. And I mean, I would have loved it.
I don't. Sorry about that. I don't get why your fan base hates Patrick Peterson so much. He is top 5 player in your modern era.
Oh yeah, it's insane. It is. Which again, it comes from the realm of younger. It comes from just a realm of we've just been so bad. It's tough when anything. It's tough to support any of those guys for older individuals here because they've just watched like bad games over and over and bad years and X, Y, and Z. And you start to. I mean, there's plenty of times if you look at other sports and other teams and stuff, you look back at like those teams, you're like, man, Patrick Peterson was good that year. He had a big falling out with Bidwell and Kime, like our GM and our owner, and it was like people were like, okay, Pat, like we got to kind of figure it out. And Pat was like, well, we need to figure it out now. And it more or less was just that reason. To me and David, we did not care. I was like, bro, Patrick Peterson has some of the sickest highlights I've ever seen out of a Cardinal. I mean, it's difficult to see to look at his resume and be like, man, I don't like this guy. Very similar. Like, I mean, you brought up Fitz, man. Me and David have talked about this on our show. We prayed for Fitz to just leave and just go somewhere else, man. Because God bless,
that's
bro.
bad.
He's one of the greatest.
Yeah.
I would say one of the greatest receivers ever. And it just not with nothing to show. I mean, but like nothing to show, man. And I have a signed football. I've gone to practices and watched him. I've run into him. I've ran into him and stuff just in Arizona and stuff. And as like a diehard fan for Arizona sports, it's one of those where it's tough. I mean, there are some people here who don't like Devin Booker, and it's like, I don't know how you don't like Devin Booker. There's some people here who don't like Charles Barkley, like crazy stuff like that. But as younger people, like our generation and like just our age group, most of us have kind of always like Budda Baker. Budda Baker's going to be one of those who we love forever. Tyrann Mathieu is another one that Tyrann Mathieu hates the Cardinals, but Arizona Cardinal fans love Tyrann Mathieu. Like, there's a lot of that
what you
here.
might not understand, Joe, is that as Vikings fans, every offseason, we had to see the videos of Larry Fitzgerald being a ball boy.
Yeah.
For the 98-99 Vikings. where they were like, "Bring him, come on, we gotta
Bring him,
come
yeah.
home for one season before you retire." So, guys, let's
connection
move on
was
to a
always
little bit
there.
more of a contemporary thing about this weekend, and I'll ask you a fun question first. Name one Vikings player on our roster other than Justin Jefferson you'd like to have on your team.
David, you want to go first? I have it noted down. I just have to go find it.
Yeah, I think off the top of my head, I'd say Jordan Addison. I think you guys having that 1-2 punch of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison is just totally lethal. And we could definitely benefit from – I mean, honestly, from what I've seen from Marv, he's still trying to find his role. And Jordan Addison looks like he could be a star. So if we could have a guy like that as a wide receiver 1-2, if he could just establish that spot, I think that would help the offense out so much.
Dave, I don't know why, but I do think he would fit in as a Cardinal. He just kind of feels like a Cardinal for some reason.
Yeah. I feel like it's been a lot of interesting with like the Cardinals and the younger, I don't know, like that younger vibe because of the team being. I mean, the team is so much younger now. There's plenty of guys on that team that me and David are the same age as of right now, and it's interesting to see that kind of that young group come in after watching, the golden years of Carson Palmer, Larry Fitzgerald, watching older dudes who kind of had their young seasons with other teams and then come over and be like pretty good over here. Or like the short spurt, fantastic seasons of like David Johnson, where 2 years where it looked like David Johnson might be one of the greatest running backs ever.
Yeah.
And then disappeared and kind of decided to go do his own thing instead. I think one of the people that I would love to have is Cashman. I've always or Ginkle. Any of your linebackers. I mean, the linebacking core for the Cardinals is young and kind of just in a weird realm right now. We drafted Isaiah Simmons a couple years ago. We drafted Zaven Collins a couple years ago. And like Zaven has been good this year and has been much better this year when it comes to pressure. Isaiah Simmons was one of those where like, I mean, me and David go back and forth. There are some plays of Isaiah Simmons where he looked like a stud. And then there's plays where you're like, I don't know what Isaiah Simmons is on the field for. And I think that's kind of that consistency at linebacker we've wanted. There was talks about us getting Hassan Reddick, getting a D-edge rusher, and just kind of like that's that realm. I think like David said earlier, we don't have those guys who are getting 10 sacks a year, 15 sacks a year. We got dudes who kind of get 2 or 3 a year, and you got like 4 or 5 of those guys. And those guys are great when you have a Aiden Hutchinson, when you have a Max Crosby, and those guys can get those key sacks in other moments. But we don't have that kind of that D-edge guy, that linebacker guy that I think can stick it to most teams, and you're doubling that guy. We had those years of Aaron Donald where it was just – I mean, it was just not fun to watch. I mean, we just knew Aaron Donald was getting 4 sacks a game against us. Like, we've missed that kind of side. Yeah, it's just –
You guys had Hassan Reddick, didn't you?
Yeah, we did, and then he headed out, and then he went to the Eagles and had his greatest season ever with Jonathan Gannon. And then Jonathan Gannon came back here, and everybody was like, yo, how about we go get Hassan Reddick? And Hassan Reddick just wanted more money than we were kind of willing to throw in the middle of the season this year more than anything.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Yeah, go ahead.
For whatever reason, the previous regime would draft these defensive players so high and just have no plan for how to use them. Simmons, Zaven Collins, and it's just like I didn't understand the philosophy. Yeah, using first-round picks on linebackers and just it was a mess. I mean, the Isaiah Simmons draft, I think it was 2020. We passed up on CeeDee Lamb, Tristan Wirfs, like just stuff like that. It's like these such a bad taste in your mouth.
The guy you have that I wanted the most, who's hurt right now, is Will Hernandez. I always wanted that dude. How is he coming back this year?
I don't actually know. Is he coming back?
He destroyed his leg.
He destroyed his leg. Like
he destroyed his leg.
I would not advise going and looking up like Will Hernandez injury just because we just brought it up, because it's one of those just like he was having a good year. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And we've had a pretty thick
I'll say this real
bug.
quick. The problem with y'all, it seems like y'all get the talent, but y'all don't keep the talent long enough to build a team.
Yeah.
So like certain aspects starts to dwindle, and like with us, if we miss a draft pick, you be like, shit, we drafted this player, the position still suck, and like we can't win games like this because we need to secure that position on the field. So
and Keim has been, our GM, has just got, past 3 years, bro, just got run through the gutter because his picks were missed out. There was a span there for like 5 years where first and second round picks, you knew we were drafting an O-lineman, and that was it. And every single one did not turn out. DJ Humphries just went to the Chiefs. And I work at a Chick-fil-A, and he came through my drive-thru, and it was one of those where like, I've seen this guy. I was high on this guy coming into the Cardinals, and it didn't pan out. And you can look at our past draft picks, our first round draft. The one main thing that has just kept us at just such a bad level is our first round picks have not hit other than Kyler and Marv, basically. Our first round picks have not hit in a long time. You had Rosen. You had, I think DJ was a first round pick. Paris Johnson's also a good one. But then you had Isaiah, and you had like all of these guys that just did not pan out whatsoever. Like didn't lead to even mediocre careers. Like it's hard to put Isaiah Simmons in a mediocre career because he's on the Giants now. And he doesn't play for the Giants. He doesn't start for the Giants. Like it's tough because of that realm of just our first round picks are not good picks to pass. Monty Awesome for more than anything. It looks like Monty's hitting on a lot of his with Trey McBride, with Marv, and Paris Johnson. Like one of those where it seems like our picks are starting to get better, thankfully. But we've suffered through those bad picks for years now.
Isn't Buda Baker a first round pick?
I don't remember. I think he was second. I don't remember who we took first year, but our first round.
So I got a question on this game. Like I asked about the defense, how you're going to stop B-Flow, how Seattle ran the same type of defense against you last week. I'm going to go to the offensive side. You have Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones. All right, how are you going to mitigate them?
Well, one thing I think has been interesting this year is we've played a lot. I think you guys have played a lot of those kind of like runner-heavy teams. We've played an exceeding amount of pass-heavy teams. It's been very odd. We played the Jets, and whether the Jets are good or not, they had Devontae Adams and they have Garrett Wilson, two of top 20 receivers, top 25 receivers in the league right now. We played against the Dolphins with Tua. They have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Disgusting receivers right now. You have one of the most insane specimens ever.
I'm going to interrupt you right here, right now, because you said two receivers. I added a tight end in that mix and a running
100%.
back. How are you going to mitigate that?
It's an interesting point. I'm more or less just going through those teams. I think one thing that is interesting is if you look at that Niners game for us, which I think you guys played. Have you guys played the Niners yet?
We did.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of those things where I think, and then you guys played the Rams, and you guys have played a decent amount of our division already. I think that what is something that is interesting about our defense is the lack of touchdowns allowed by just in general. We give up an insane amount of yards. It is odd. We give up to the 20, to the 30, to the 10. And I think one of the things that you'll see out of the Cardinals this week is less of we don't blitz a lot, and it's a lot of coverage, and it is a lot of zone, figure it out, force people into bad positions. The Cardinals pass rush has been not good, but the Cardinals pass rush is also out there for upwards of 6 seconds on plays. It has been interesting to see the Cardinals drop 8, drop 9, rushing 2, rushing 3, and hey, we're not going to get pressure, but nobody's open on the field. And I think it's just going to be more of that. You're going to have a lot of zone. You're going to have a lot of help over the top, obviously, because of Justin Jefferson. But you're going to have a lot of those fourth backer D lineman who's dropping out, with Zaven Collins being an edge rusher. He's going to be dropping out. He's going to be keying up on running backs throughout this game. And I think that's what's going to be interesting to see. Because, again, it's difficult to cover 4 freaks on a team. Addison, Jefferson, TJ looking good. It's tough to cover all those guys. But one of those where if you can limit it to one, that's better than nothing. And I think that's more what we'll see is less of a blanket defense and more of a, hey, we're going to let TJ go crazy this drive. We're going to let JJ go crazy this drive. But no one else is going to eat. And when they get to the red zone, we're going to double that guy. We're going to do whatever we can to stop that from happening more than anything.
Let's shift gears here. We've been asking you guys a lot of questions, bringing up a lot of topics. What kind of questions do you guys have for us?
David, do you
I have a question immediately. I have a question. What do you guys think of Sam Darnold? Like honestly, do you guys think that Sam Darnold can actually win playoff games? That is my question first and foremost.
Let me start off with that. I think Sam Darnold is a mediocre quarterback, and our best quarterback on our roster is Nick Mullins.
I heard you saying that earlier, and I was like, hey, I can't doubt it. We've played it. The only thing is, we have played Sam Darnold twice. He has beat us both times on the Panthers. So that is my one worry. Yeah, it is my one worry because I don't like Sam Darnold. But
Sam Darnold can win a playoff game. There's just no doubt about it. With that roster,
Facts.
with our coach, with the way we scheme the dude, he can win a playoff game. And what you've noticed is that he's cutting down. His big problem is interceptions, and he's cut down on the last 4 games. the reason we play trash teams and won by 3, 5, 7 points is because we're playing a keep away game. And we finally figured out how to use the guy and hold the time of possession. And you'll see, and I think you'll see that this week. So I don't think you're going to end up with the Sam Darnold you were thinking of pre-Vikings. It's just not. It's not that guy.
I think that's a very good point too, just because of the like what you guys have said. And again, I mean, it don't matter. You win by 3, you win by 40. It's only 1 W. And if you can stack those, that's all that matters in this league, man. That's all that matters.
And bro, if you look at his deep passing game, that is not his problem. That dude has elite arm talent on deep passes. He just does. And it's hard for me to say that because I don't love him. But at the end of the day, that's a strength. He's like, that's a superhuman strength. And if he gets a few open looks, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh, JJ, we brought this up a couple weeks ago. Our favorite, we did our top 3 receivers that we've personally watched. Not like, hey, bet top 3 ever, because we haven't watched Randy Moss. We didn't get to watch Jerry Rice. Our top 3 ever, and we both put JJ in there. We were like, bro, JJ's been here for 2-3 years, and he's one of the most entertaining guys to watch catch a football and run. Like,
dude, we watch every single Minnesota Viking game, and the thing about JJ is that he doesn't dominate a game the way you think he does. Like, you'll look up and he's got 8 catches and 115 yards, and it's like, where did it even come from? I'm telling you, it's not like he dominates. It's not Randy Moss, man. He just keeps the chains moving. He can go deep. He could do everything. But at the end of the day, he's not as dominating or that much of a deep threat as you think he is. But he's amazing. He's a great route runner.
And he catches everything. He does his job at the best. He does his job the best in the league right now. He catches everything thrown at him.
Mostly. So that was a good question from David. Does Sam Darnold win a playoff game for us? And I'm 100% on yes. It's a first-year quarterback in this system, correct? So you watched the first 8 weeks of the game, I would say 7, and he had his struggles, right? He's had his struggles, but now since the Titans game, he's starting to pick up the playbook a little bit better. He's starting to look. He's reading through progressions. This was I would say our best offensive output we had all year long. I think it's because the offense is starting to open up now. He's realizing that we have more weapons on this team than Justin Jefferson. He's not just slinging it at JJ and then there's a pick because he just underthrew it. And his talent, he has the tangibles and the talent to be a really, really good quarterback in this league. He just needs to figure out, hey, I got other people I can throw the ball to. And with you got a talented offense like we have with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Isaiah Oliver, like you have talent all over the field. His problem was he just needed to adapt to this offensive scheme and this playbook. Hey, I got other progressions I need to read through. And I think we saw it last week with his progressions.
Shaq, you haven't really said nothing. You've been cheerleading.
Oh nah, I had to listen to us talk about our franchise quarterback. Can we call him that? Can we call him that? I'm just saying. They haven't beat Sam Darnold, and not only that, KOC, he's showing what you could do with a quarterback with talent if you coach them the right way. A lot of teams don't try to coach their quarterbacks. They just tell them, "Look, we suck right now. We need your help." And you coming fresh out of college. We need your help to win the game. It's not that easy being a quarterback in the league. Yeah, you have the talent, but you need more than just talent. You need an environment that's going to believe in you. Vikings is showing we rehabilitate quarterbacks. Give them, the offensive line going to do their blocking. KOC's going to want you to throw the ball. He's going to want to show, he believes in the quarterback, complete the easy throws. And if you got the talent, let it rip. That's what we got in Sam Darnold. That's the type of offense KOC wants to run, and we doing a good job with it. If you look at, I compare it to like how the Chiefs run their offense. It's mostly to Travis Kelce or running the ball. And then, you got Patrick Mahomes doing Patrick Mahomes thing. One thing me and Keith agreed on with Sam Darnold, mobility. He's getting a lot of first down for us, and he's avoiding the sacks. And not a lot of quarterbacks are doing that on the regular. So it's kind of giving us that ability to, that offensive lineman let a free blitzer get there. Sam Darnold avoid the sack doing a spin move. Now he completes the pass or he runs it.
Sam Darnold gives us the best chance at winning since we had Case Keenum.
Over Kurt?
2017.
Over
Not
Kurt.
saying much.
Over
It's not
Kurt.
saying much.
Over Kurt.
Over Kurt. Yes.
It's been a
indeed,
while.
over
I say it
Kurt.
is tough too because Sam Darnold has been on. Whatever you want to say about the Jets, the Jets are just like it seems like it's just tough to be a quarterback in New York.
I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying what Mahomes do well, Sam Darnold can do.
Fair. I think again, it's one of those where I think it's interesting because of Darnold being. I mean, he's been on the Jets and he's been on the Panthers and then he was on the Niners and he played one game for the Niners, so he didn't really play for the Niners. But nobody's taking the Panthers serious. Nobody was really taking the Jets too serious those years either. I mean, they weren't winning games too terribly often. So one of those where I think it's been interesting seeing Sam Darnold. We've seen this. I mean, we've seen the resurgence of some quarterbacks multiple times throughout our time, and you've seen the kind of downfall in sophomore seasons with CJ and stuff. But it comes down to it. It's year to year. I mean, Sam Darnold could be great this year, could be great next year. And more, it just comes down to like that development, I think, with Minnesota, and if they can develop them and turn them into what was expected out of him. May just be a late bloomer. It just kind of has to be the way it is sometimes, I think so.
Give him the
Kyler
weapons.
Murray. I agree with Kyle. I like Kyler Murray as a quarterback. I just feel like Cliff Kingsbury was holding him back.
Yeah.
You need a run game. You can't just throw the ball 24 times, 70 times a game and expect Kyler Murray to win the game for you.
Well,
Like, you need a run game to go with the pass.
You're seeing Cliff Kingsbury kind of do the same thing he's done with Kyler Murray with Jaden Daniels right now.
Well, it's been interesting. Like we brought up at the beginning, like what did they go the past 3 weeks?
1-2.
Yeah, I think they went 1-2. Yeah, they might have gone 0-3, 1-2. But they lost to arguably the worst team in their division in the Cowboys. I mean, you could put them with the Giants. You interchange them. They're both pretty bad right now.
Bad loss.
Yeah, they are 3 in a row. They lost the Steelers, they lost the Eagles, and they lost the Cowboys. So one of those where it's tough to look at just that kind of realm and just think like, hey, maybe it's not Cliff's fault. And then he goes over there and it's the same thing. Second half of the season came and they're 0-3. I mean, that is literally textbook what the Cardinals did for almost every year he was coached, besides 2 years his last year where we only won 4 games. I mean, that's
Joe,
what it was.
Joe, your question for us, are you going to cherry pick an easy question like David? Or are you going to ask us something a little more complicated?
I didn't really have anything off the top of my head, but I think a good question. I think you guys kind of the same way you guys asked us. Besides Larry Fitzgerald, is there another Cardinal in history that you would have liked to have been on the Vikings now, pre good years, bad years?
Yes,
What would you like?
Patrick Peterson.
Patrick
Peterson.
Jim Hart.
Mick Tinglehall.
I actually like.
They're all before your time.
But I like Jim Hart. We've done a lot of the history through this year, more looking at stuff because it's been interesting just to see. I mean, you guys,
Carson
obviously,
Palmer.
USC, fight on.
Carson Palmer, Pat Tillman is a great one. Shout out Pat Tillman.
What about Kurt Warner?
Kurt Warner's a good one.
Kurt Warner's a good one.
Kurt Warner, yeah. JJ Watt, understandable. Are we counting JJ Watt as a Cardinal or as a Texan?
Hey, he played for us 2 years. 2 years,
Yeah,
man.
but-
Hey, he was really good. When he was healthy, he was really good.
You get Cardinal JJ Watt. You don't get Texan JJ Watt.
Valid. That's fair. He was good.
I know
either way.
JJ Watt was nasty.
Still nasty. Those years with JJ,
like
those
5
years
years
with
a year.
Carson, bro. Oh man, I wish we had a little bit more of that positive season. There's always these TikToks that go around like, "Oh, are you loyal?" And then someone just shows the Cardinals record over their entire existence as a franchise. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm part of that team's fan base, bro. That's the group that I like to support.
Well, there's no bandwagon Cardinal fans. There's no bandwagon Viking fans. But
yeah,
speaking about fans, I wanted to ask you something a little bit earlier. Was we have a pretty big Facebook group, and a lot of people are actually from Arizona, and that actually shocks me. Do you guys notice that being in Arizona? Do you see Viking fandom out there?
I have a story.
No?
Yeah.
I have a story actually. I went to the Cardinals Viking game in 2021. I have to tell you guys, man, that Skol chant, like it was definitely in our stadium.
It is
like
hard, bro.
I couldn't believe how much purple there was in that stadium, and I was so happy when everyone left sad because you guys missed the field goal to win the game. Oh my god, that was like the cherry on top. I just saw all the purple leave. It was amazing. But yeah, I don't know what it is. You guys just have a diehard fan base, and
I do think it's
pretty crazy
because of the snowbird side of stuff. Like, I mean, you guys. I mean, it gets so cold in Minnesota, and you got people who are coming down here, and then you got people older people. What's interesting is it's people who were younger and then got a little bit older and retired who were living out here and then moved to Minnesota, and like the back and forth. I think that's kind of where where it comes from is just the
true,
amount of cold you guys have.
That's true, but is there anything really to do in Phoenix?
Hey, Phoenix top five in my opinion. I love Phoenix. Phoenix has grown quite a bit over the past.
It has grown
10
around the
years,
stadium.
too.
They got a nice little air around the stadium. Nice little nightlife. Like,
I'm a big hockey person, which is surprising because I live in Arizona. But my dad, like I said, is from Alaska.
Sorry about your
and
loss.
I watch. Yeah, I know it sucks, but the Coyote Stadium was just north of the Cardinal Stadium. Like it was in that big kind of structure and stuff that they have over there. Hey, yeah, my boy. So one of those where it's been interesting because I think there's a lot of that kind of influx of people who come from all those snow areas. They come in from the cold, love the weather out here because it is perfect. And then they move out back to Minnesota when it's hot out here. And I think that nightlife that you see is kind of an attractive thing now with the way that it's been kind of getting built and just the excitement around certain teams. The Suns doing well, the D-backs hitting the World Series. This influx of sports has been interesting for us as younger people just because we really didn't have it growing up like whatsoever. I mean, baseball and basketball were basically irrelevant up until the bubble season for the Suns, and baseball was basically irrelevant up until 2-3 years ago when Corbin Carroll started going crazy at the end of the season. And I think that's what's been interesting is to see that kind of growth as fans, as young fans, is like, hey, we support a team that doesn't do well. We support multiple teams that don't do well. But, man, that's what makes it pays off. You guys know that as Minnesota fans, man. I mean, those great years, they just hit so different than when you have those good years, when you have those years where you can be excited for that next weekend.
See like consistency more than just pop-up seasons, but yeah. But no, it just tripped me out because every time we do a roll call, there's just so many people saying they're from here, Arizona, Like, damn, there's sure a lot of you out there, man.
That happens a lot here too. I mean, any home game right now feels like an away game most of the time, man.
It's terrible. It's terrible. We have such bad presence in our stadium.
Fans, we travel well.
Yeah,
because 3 of us were at the Titans game a couple of weeks ago.
See,
and
Arizona,
that was a home game
I don't think it's even traveling. I think there's just a lot of local Viking fans in Arizona. It's weird to me. But yes, we do travel well.
I say through multiple sports. I mean, hockey, again, it also depends because, like, I mean, when you have bad teams, you don't have fans show up. When you're bad at home, fans don't show up. And then when that team shows up, I mean, that fan base's team is showing up in mass support. And it was very similar growing up watching hockey where, I mean, I would just go to, I'm a diehard Yotes fan, and it's obviously I was sad to see him go.
Be a Yeti fan now.
Every game, I can't be a Yeti fan, man. It just doesn't hit the same anymore, bro. But one of those where it's been interesting because my whole life, that's how it's been. I've never known sports really with a mass fan group of the team I'm supporting. Like, I went to Denver to watch the Nuggets versus the Suns, and it was the same thing where I was like, man, this is what a stadium is supposed to be like, full of Nugget fans with limited seating for Suns fans. Like, it was weird to me to have that kind of realization of like, yeah, we're supposed to pack stadiums with our fans, not with the opposing team's fans, but it is what it is. I mean, I hope it changes in the coming future.
Hey, can I say a player that I really wanted from you guys would be 2004 Jake Plummer. That was the year Dante Culpepper went down with that serious injury, and Jake Plummer, Pro Bowl quarterback that year. We went 9-7. I think with Jake Plummer on this team, sitting behind Culpepper after the injury would have took us all the way.
Yeah, fair. That's a fair point. Year to year, like a year to year, like, hey, I need him for that year. That's a pick. For me, that's a pick from the hat, but it makes sense. It makes sense too.
That's what they need to start doing, year-to-year quarterbacks.
It's interesting to see. Tom Brady made a comment about it earlier this year about teams not being good at developing people. But it's interesting to see now that kind of, again, like with the resurgence of certain quarterbacks, seem like, oh, maybe Tom Brady was kind of onto something here with the, like you guys said, like consistent quarterback and consistent coaching can change the world. You might be bad for 3 years, but if you're good in 4, 5, 6, it don't matter how bad those 3 years were.
Because not only did we lose Dante Culpepper, we lost Randy Moss that year. So it was we still went 9-7. I think with Jake Plummer, we might have been a little bit something more.
So we got Dylan here, and he's actually one of those Arizona Viking fans. Oh. What's up, Dylan?
What's up? I felt like it was in my due diligence that I had to hop on here. So, I don't know if Joseph and David are from AZ, but
we are.
They are.
We are born and raised.
Yeah. You guys are in Phoenix, Glendale.
Phoenix, I'm more Phoenix. I'm like kind of just like north a little bit of kind of like on the bridge of Scottsdale in Phoenix.
Okay, like Desert Ridge type.
Yeah,
area.
a little bit. Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
There's like 2 cities in Arizona, Phoenix or Glendale. You just everywhere else is nowhere, so it doesn't matter.
Well, the
Scottsdale's
thing
where the
is,
rich
That's
people
not
live,
true.
basically.
That's not true.
the thing is Glendale's basically Phoenix, so it's like everything's Phoenix. Like
Yeah.
Everything's
I mean,
Phoenix.
there's
Yeah.
Tucson too, Cody. Come on.
there's Phoenix, Tucson, and Glendale. That's it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Or there's Phoenix, Flagstaff, Phoenix, Flagstaff, and Tucson. Those are the 3 cities. Like,
Yeah. Again, back to that point of why you're asking about Minnesota fans. I think it's one of those where they can come in the winter, and if they want a little bit of that home feeling, they go to Flag, get a little bit of snow, but not the crazy snow that Minnesota has, the more enjoyable type of snow that Flag has. And then if they don't want it, they just come back down to Phoenix. It's 70 degrees out, 85 in the sun, and you're like, man, this breeze feels really good. It's been interesting seeing the amount of Minnesota Viking fans every time we play a game against y'all more than anything.
Do you run into Viking fans out there, Dylan, or not really?
so I guess like I have friends, like a few friends that I just met like in high school and different things that are Vikings fans, but there's Vikings fans because there's never any gear. Like if you go to buy shit, like the Brown shit, the Broncos shit, it's there. The Viking shit, nah. Like I was trying to get my grandpa one of the salute to service hats for Christmas, and I waited too long. They sold out on Fanatics. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the store. Every single team had the hat except the Vikings, and now I can't get the fucking hat. So I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like,
He ran into a couple of Vikings fans at the Rams game a few weeks ago.
yeah, I did. One of them had some pretty little eyes, kept smiling at me.
Whoa!
It's going high. Hi, Dylan. Hi.
That's why you bought me a drink.
So I got a quick
Yeah, right. I do want to say one thing though. Did Shaq lose a bet? Why is he wearing a red shirt during the Cardinals week?
Good call.
Valid point.
It's
Valid
unfair.
point.
Come on,
He's a classic
Shaq.
Cardinal fan,
Wait a
actually.
minute now.
Yeah, we might need to look back
Cardinals
at
jacket.
the live shows to make sure he's
Is
not
this when
wearing
Shaq
fucking
comes out
navy
as being a
blue.
straight up blood.
Right, Cody?
He just bet on the Cardinals so that if the Vikings win, he's happy, but he lost money. But if the Cardinals win, he won money and the Vikings lost. It's just a win-win for him this week.
You
That's
know,
what
you
the
always
Cody
gotta
would
get
do,
those
not
win-wins. A win is a win.
All right, Cardinal
So
fans.
what-
So tell me something that makes you guys confident about this game and what worries you about this game.
David, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm worried about our O-line shitting the bed again. Last week was terrible. They had a terrible game. Kyler was just under pressure all game. He never got comfortable, never got situated. If that happens again, it's just an L guaranteed. If we can't establish the run game, L guaranteed. That being said, we do have some saving graces. We do have some weapons. Trey McBride I think is a top 3 tight end. We can go back and forth. You guys got your guy. We got our guy. We'll just keep it there. We'll keep it there for sure. But Trey McBride, James Conner, Kyler, Marv, if they can do what they do, I think if Kyler can rush and just test that defense, go on a little 20, 25-yard run and just kind of get what he can get, I think things can get really messy really fast. I think we can make it a grindy kind of game. And if we've learned to win in that type of environment, I think if we can make that happen, we have a good chance.
I'll do my worry. My worry is the weather. The Cardinals against the Packers in Lambeau, whatever you want to say, Green Bay's hard to win in. We don't have any cold weather out here, and I think that those hits, that grindy type of game, that kind of stuff when it's cold gets way more difficult for a team that plays in 190-degree weather more than anything.
It's a dome.
It's a dome, brother.
Oh, never mind. I didn't know you guys had that.
It's a dome,
Never
brother.
mind. I'm not
Who's
worried.
gonna tell him?
I didn't know.
Dear Ziggy, open the doors.
I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Yeah. So I guess that was kind of my one big worry was just the weather because we're just terrible in those outdoor games. When we played Buffalo, it was bad. Other than that, though, I think it's just the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing David said. Run game, we've seen if you can make the Cardinals one-dimensional, they either go crazy or they don't do anything, and it's one or the other. And it's more often than not with a young team going to be the latter. It's not going to go well. Again, saving graces, you have those guys, you have those talents to be able to go do whatever you can do with Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison and everything like that. But at the end of the day, we built the team to run. If the team can't run, it's difficult to win games in general. No matter how grindy the game is, if it comes down to field goals, it comes down to field goals. But I'm not thinking it'll come down to field goals. I think JJ's having a tutty. I think both teams are having a passing touchdown for 30-plus yard, 20-plus yard receiving touchdown, just because both teams have that kind of talent on their team more than anything. I think it'll be one of those things where if they just can't run, it won't be fun for us to watch even, because it'll just be time taken off by the Vikings and then ball for three downs, and that's it basically.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think like for us, what we need to do is stop James Conner. I think I'm not a huge James Conner fan. I know he's having a good year, but I don't think James Conner's elite enough to run on our defense personally. So I guess as a Vikings fan, I'm hoping we can stop him because he does chop on some people. But I don't think, if James Conner doesn't get going tomorrow, I think, we can win pretty easily.
Sounds like a key.
Just personally, I just think like that's like,
Has he been in on the pre-production meeting?
What about positive from you, David? I'll go first. I think positive is just the tackling of the Vikings. You guys have brought it up multiple times. I think if the run offense can get going, if you see two back looks, two back and then three back if you count Kyler, I think if the run game gets going and you can get even just Connor to that second level and he's only getting 5-6 yards a carry instead, I think that's what will be an interesting thing, is if it can get started early, it usually rolls. It doesn't usually stagnate out for us this year so far. It's been more of the it just never gets going, less of the we were going and then it got stopped. So I think if you can keep the train from leaving the station, it'll be massive for the Vikings. But if it's out and it's going and it's chugging, it'll be tough to stop it moving forward. I think that'll just be the main thing that we kind of look forward to and look to see. Because I think if James Conner does have a great game, if he has a breakout game running-wise, has another really good game running-wise, it'll be nice to see kind of that spark from a running back in a very tough scenario that you're expected not to do well in, finally do well more than anything. That's what I look forward to, at least.
Yeah, you guys need more of like kind of like how the Jets game went, where he just James Conner was just in the Jets' ass all game.
The whole game.
I'm gonna make a bold claim, and I know you guys aren't gonna like it. I actually really like our secondary. I think Garrett Williams, Max Melton, Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, he's not healthy right now. I'm not sure if he's going to play. I think it might be a game-time decision kind of thing. I like our secondary a lot, and I think that you guys will see that they're actually pretty good, and they might actually stop a couple guys. Obviously, guys are going to get their plays. They're going to get their yards. It's by design. It's going to happen. We shut down Devontae Adams, Garrett Williams, Tyreek. JSN had a pretty good game, but it was off. It was just yak, there was this kind of weird blown up plays that happened. Shut down.
It was one broken yak play. It was a singular play.
He ran free for like 20, 30 yards. Like, it was insane. But we've shut down some pretty good receiving cores. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is a different animal. So we're going to have to kind of game plan for that differently. But I do like our secondary a lot, and I think they might give you guys some fits so you're not prepared.
I hope you guys bracket JJ with 3 to 2 dudes all game long. I really want to see that.
Say what's been interesting is that has been our MO the whole year is, those top guys, they aren't getting more than 50 yards. If someone else beats us, is what it is. We'll allow it to happen. But it's difficult when you have Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and those guys. Like, it's different because like the Jets, it was literally Devontae or Garrett, and it was like, I think it was Devontae's second or third weekend, kind of tough because it's not the same as Garrett Wilson or anything. But it's been our MO. Tyreek Hill had same thing where Tyreek Hill had one kind of 60-yard, 50-yard bomb that didn't result in a tutty, but it was a breadbasket throw from Tua. But that was basically it. And again, the Cardinals just have to limit those tutties. They've been doing a good job of it. Again, it's been interesting because media has been saying they allowed 16 points last week. They only allowed 9. Kyler threw a pick six. They only allowed 9, first touchdown in 4 weeks. And I think that's an interesting, even just as a Cardinal fan looking forward to next year, to the rest of the season, like we're seeing the growth of the team more than anything. And we're seeing the development of what the Cardinals really can be. All right, let's calm down. 45
That's
13
insane.
is crazy.
That's not happening.
I'm thinking more 27-20. But besides the point, but I think it's interesting to see as a Cardinal fan, this growth, new coach, a little bit more regiment. I forgot who made a comment earlier about like Cliff kind of letting Kyler do what he wanted or like holding him back. It was weird because it felt like the opposite in a sense. Like he kind of just let Cliff kind of just let Kyler like do what he wanted. It was I don't even know
It's
how
the
to put it in
weirdest
words,
thing.
but it
The
was
weirdest thing ever.
but there was like no
Yep.
development when he was a quarterback guru or whatever. It felt like he allowed Kyler to get in his own head, didn't kind of pep Kyler up for those kind of things. And then Kyler would kind of like push him off. You saw, I mean, eventually, yes, you guys saw that. I mean, Kyler telling him like, "Hey, shut up! I'm gonna go sit down." And it was like, all right, wait a minute, like that's a little weird.
So
That's
weird.
a little weird,
So
dude.
weird.
Like, so it's interesting to see kind of a different side of it, and good to see Kyler, like you said, have a season so far that's been better, limiting those interceptions. Last week was his first. I said his first real mistake. Like it was the first time we saw him like make a bad play, didn't get the first down, and then just try and do too much and extend it. And it was like that's been one of the things we've been really happy to see is Kyler really just limiting those dumb decisions. The decision to slide has been great this year instead of getting hit to limit those injuries. So it's just cool to see kind of like that development as younger people watching younger guys kind of mature a little bit and get a little bit
That
better.
was like
Just playing football.
that was my thing when you guys played Seahawks. They ran probably, I think, was 6 plays where they had 4 down linemen fingers in the dirt that whole game.
Yeah.
Other than that, they had 2, 1, 3, and everyone else is standing up. And everyone else is moving back or they're blitzing in. And that's very similar what Seahawks ran. Their defense is very, very similar of the defense we've been running all year long.
Yeah, the Cardinals have done really good this year. The only thing is they've just done really good this year off of losses is my other thing too. Lost to, I think, the Packers. I have to look up the exact like routine of schedule. But beginning of the year, it had been kind of a tough break, more or less just with the schedule. I mean, we played Lions, Packers. We're seeing the Rams start to come into form right now. Niners was a close game because we got them a little bit healthy. Like we had a really rough beginning of the season, and then we had injuries with guys right in the beginning of the season. And one of the things that we haven't really touched on is the D-edge spot. Darius Robinson, our first round pick in this most previous draft. We don't know what's going on with him. He might play this weekend. He might not. But he was a guy that we kind of talked about last week about, hey, if you can get that first round pick in the middle of the season, you're basically drafting a guy in the middle of the season. It'll be interesting to see if he can kind of adjust to this NFL speed and stuff like that. And I think that'll be just like the development side of it, of where if you can get these new guys bringing in new mindsets and you can get these new guys bringing in new things, you can go week to week within the NFL and you can start to learn. And I mean, thank God we played the Seahawks last week because it's an adjustment we can make to y'all. We didn't play the Seahawks last week and we didn't see that defense, man. This week would literally be the exact same thing as last week, where you guys scheme everything insanely for us, and we have no idea how to figure it out. Last week, we did not do a good job of getting ready for it post-bye, which sucks. But I think this week will be at least a little bit better than last week at the end of the day when it comes to realizing the scheme. Kyler probably understanding it a bit more just because we faced it now more than anything, which is good for us to learn.
I got a vague but specific question for you guys, okay? About your defense, you kind of pumped up your secondary a little bit there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the favorite formations that the Vikings like to run is 12 personnel. 1 running back, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. Tight ends being TJ Hawkinson and Josh Oliver. How do you match up with that? Because I don't know if you're familiar with Josh Oliver's game. Because when he came to us from the Ravens, he was billed as the best run blocking tight end in the league. But when he came out of college, he was the most prolific pass catching tight end in the league. And this year, he's been doing great in Hawkinson's absence. And he's a house with legs. He's a massive. So how do you feel like your defense is going to stack up against our 12 personnel?
I mean, I would always say Buddha. It don't matter what personnel you put out there. Buddha is a game wrecker when it comes to running. You can put 2 tight ends on him. You can put whatever you want on him. Buddha is leading the league. I think he's leading the league in tackles right now. He is an insane game wrecker. And I do think that has to play a role. Buddha coverage-wise, it's kind of mid. Not great. Not a fantastic. He's good at it, but he's playing safety. He's not playing insane coverage, really. But Buddha Baker on realizing and reading up schemes, it is hard to put anyone past him more than anything. And I think that is where you will see a lot of this stuff, is setting up Buddha to make those plays. You're going to have linebackers who are going to be, hey, you're taking tight ends on these plays. You're the ones who are going to be lining up, trying to hit these guys. Only reason you're doing that is so Buddha Baker can try and make a play on these runs. And I think that's what more of the defense will be this week is, hey, let Buddha cook. If they want to run the ball, then they can run the ball. Buddha's going to be there most of the time.
Yeah. And just to kind of add on to that, I think stopping the run is going to be very important out of 12 personnel because the Cardinals run a lot of 12 personnel. They love doing that. They love going heavy, smash mouth football. That's how we've been winning games, and running the play action out of that, hitting McBride, letting them go crazy, hurdle guys. That's what we've been doing. That's been us all year. So we saw last week, you shut down the run. That neutralizes that style of offense. So then it's going to turn into, hey, Sam, you're going to have to sit back there and throw it 30-plus times. He has the weapons to do it. But as far as, kind of mitigating that, definitely got to sell it to stop the run. But, yeah, I definitely think that we can do that. It's going to be very hard. Obviously, you guys have very good weapons. Aaron Jones, Hawkinson. We can go over it. We've been talking about it all night, but it's going to be very hard to do. It's easier in theory.
Let us
we're underdogs.
Hold on. Let us tell you our 5 keys to this game, and then I'm going to give you a chance to rebuttal against them. So, Rinaldi and Cody, go ahead. What's the 5 keys to this game?
All right. I think we've hit on like every key already 6 times, but let's
go through it fast.
Let's start with I think we have to bottle up Kyler Murray, which just doesn't mean bottle up Kyler Murray. It means don't overcommit to the guy. Don't get off your feet. Don't jump too far. Don't jump and stay and hold your lanes. The guy will create crazy plays. I've seen him do it against us. I've seen him do it against other people, and he still throws dimes. We have to hold our lanes. We have to keep him in the pocket. And if we don't do that, he will eat us up in a stupid play where we almost get him 3 times and don't. And it's so Minnesota Viking, and it's so us. And I watched it happen last week against Williams. I do not want to see that again this week. And that is key number 1.
Yes, and I'm totally with Ronaldo here. I watched that play where Caleb scrambled out and just had to dump it in the end zone. It's because Harrison Smith, the fixer, missed the tackle. And like at that play, if he gets that sack, it's only 3 points. It's not a touchdown. We totally win that game. But Harrison Smith is also a savvy veteran guy. He's going to get that tackle the following week because he knows that he did mess up on that tackle. So I'm totally on board with that.
Van Ginkel too, and now it's on tape. That they had to like be like, what was that? They must have played that 10 times in a row in between games. So yeah, I don't expect to see that again. So buckle up.
What's the second key of the game?
Oh, second key of the game. Hey, don't let James Conner get going. I mean, that's been the theme of this whole talk, right? When the James Conner gets going, Cardinals are good. Kyler Murray is really good. So you don't get James Conner going, all right? Number 1 rush defense in the league. Don't let him get going, all right? This if he wants to run the ball on second down, which I totally advise doing that because we don't, but and he gets 1 yard, that's not getting him going. That's slowing him down, making Kyler Murray have to pass in this complex defense, which I think is very complex. What we've seen against the Seahawks because they ran the same type of scheme that we do all year long. So I hope they just slow him down. That means Kyler Murray's not going to get going.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing that I've been worried about all year is that if somebody starts running over us, we're going to lose bad. That's going to be the big loss. We haven't had one of them. We've been in every single game this year, and if that happens, look out. That's where we lose big. So obviously that's a win.
All right, third key to the game.
I think we have to. That's yours. That's actually yours.
Oh, scheme for a banged up O-line. So, quick hits and established run. That's not on the thing, but whatever. All right, quick hits and established run. 100%. The Vikings are really good in play action. We've seen it with Kirk Cousins. We've seen it with Case Keenum. The Vikings are a play action team. It doesn't matter who the goddamn coach is on this team. They are a good play action team. Is Aaron Jones can average around 3.8 to 4 point something, even higher. We are going to be a good play action team this year. All right. So to establish that run. All right. Aaron Jones needs to get going. He got going last week, and what happened? We had our best offensive performance all year long, in my opinion. We scored over 27 points for the first time since September 29th. All right, there was the lull that we had. I think the offensive playbook is just now opening up for Sam Darnold. All right, it's opening up because we are giving Aaron Jones the ball, and he's going over 100 yards.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Robinson is iffy. He may play, he may not play. We have to use our Oliver, who's also hurt. If he's able to play, he's gonna have to back up a little bit and double team Quisenberry, whoever's gonna be out on that right side. So the O-line is definitely gonna have to be schemed for. and God forbid something else happens to anybody else during the game, because I don't think our depth is all that great right now. So yeah, I know I don't want to will it into existence, but I'm not. Yeah, I get it. But look, it's got to happen, man. We've got to find a way to use our offensive line for what they are and scheme them in that direction. The next one is scheme Justin Jefferson open. Now that sounds like the Moss principle or whatever the hell Mike Tice called it. That's not what that means.
The Randy
it just
ratio.
means, the Randy ratio, right? It's not what that means. It means to just get the ball to our star player a little bit more often. And I don't care how you do it. If it's a screen pass, if it's a swing pass, if you have him throw a ball, I've seen him do that. A run. I don't care what you have to do. He needs to be part of the offense. He's the team captain. And if the guy gets any kind of a roll on, look out.
Yeah, and that's totally big too, because even if you're scheming Justin Jefferson open, that's going to put a lot of stress on that Cardinals defense, because they're trying to scheme him open. That means there's more defenders on Justin Jefferson. That means there's more targets for the other 3 people that we have on this offense that will catch balls and make Sam Darnold.
That's the big part.
Sorry, make Sam Darnold look like he is fucking not Sam Darnold at the end of the day.
And the 5th one?
That's you, Cody.
Darnold, our biggest thing with Sam Darnold right now is, I think Dan Orlovsky said it during the post game, not the post game, but during the highlights. He said, "Trust your hitches." You see Sam Darnold hold the ball for a very long time because he's in his hitches, right? He's like 1, 2, 3. My footwork's here. Where do I got to throw? What do I got to throw? And he holds the ball a little too long. All right, he doesn't throw that ball when he needs to throw that ball. So trust your hitches, Sam Darnold. Protect the ball to find another down also, right? And you kind of saw it. I think he messed up twice against the Bears where he didn't protect it. He held the ball a little too long that time. All year long was the thing, is he was just holding the ball way too long. He's not trusting his hitches. All right, your hitches is when you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, where's my target? Not there. 1 step back, there's my target. Move him in the pocket, where's my target, right? And he's not doing those things. It's almost like a progression thing. If Sam Darnold can do those things and that ball gets out quickly, I think we win this game by more than 10 points.
I dig. And it's what KOC's been seeing too. You said footwork. It's eyes to feet, right? And make sure that you keep the ball moving and live to play another down. Don't make the dumb pass. I don't want to be in that position where we're like, don't throw it. Throw it away. Take the sack if you have to.
But he's been doing that, right, Rinaldi?
And he's been doing it for the last 3 games. It's exactly what the difference has been since the 2 losses. So if he continues to do that, I think we're going to be in a really good position to win. Key to the game. Those are our 5 keys.
My question is that.
Go
Can I
ahead.
ask Cody a question real quick? The hitches thing. How much of that is on like KOC, like trying to? Do you think he being Sam down air, telling him go deep to short? Because I play call, we be. It looks like Sam Donald be holding the ball for he trying to hit a home run every play.
That's the thing. That's about trusting your hitches, right? So when he drops back, you saw this Jordan Addison open how many times this year, right? And the game we watched last week, it was kind of like, okay, he is starting to trust his hitches. It might be because he's starting to trust the playbook. He's starting to trust the coaching scheme. He's getting used to the playbook. He's getting used to the scheme now, right? It's 1-year quarterback. He's his first year in the league. It takes damn near 2 years to get it with the offense as a quarterback. It's why you see rookies kind of struggle here and there unless it's a simplified offense. KOC is never going to make a simplified offense. Everything's going to be complex. But the routes with Jordan Addison is going to be there. I mean, you saw it because they're going to triple team JJ. So it's KOC probably telling him, hey, over the past couple weeks, hey, you don't have to look at JJ the whole time. You have other progressions. Trust your hitches. All right, you see that hitch, hit it. All right. If you got to go to another hitch, then hit it. If you got to go to that third hitch, hey, get ready because shit's about to get serious. All right. And that's when you got to start scrambling around and try to make a play for yourself. But you should always be in a 2-hitch system. All right. That 1 hitch, bang, I got 5 yards. All right. And always make it 3rd and manageable. The beginning of the year, we were seeing 3rd and 19, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, like these long 3rd and non-manageable situations. The last game and the game with the Titans, we weren't really seeing that. We were seeing 3rd and 5. So those manageable situations, because you're starting to see Sam Darnold starting to trust his hitches.
I think one of the things that happens is I think it's so funny one that you guys are calling them hitches, like trust your hitches. But there's reads, there's like 3 reads for every play. Like if a corner does something, a safety does something, you hit one. If they do the other, you do the other. What I think, because KOC is such a smart dude, like this dude is fucking smart. Like he didn't play a lot in the NFL, but that dude knows how to call. He knows how to draw up plays. So I think what happens is our offense is a little like more complicated than what we see, and sometimes KOC will call play. And sometimes it works where it's like our routes run a certain way because KOC knows certain dudes are going to react a certain way. And when they do, bam, we get a shot. But I think maybe what happens for Sam is sometimes we call that play and he's not really looking for a read. He's looking for the defender to do a certain thing. So if they don't do that, I feel like that's where he like gets stuck possibly. Because it's like, well, coach, like you said the safety was gonna bite on this and the safety didn't bite. So now I'm stuck,
Dylan, I think you're right about that. But what I saw Darnold do last week that I haven't seen him do before is he canned to a throw, which was crazy. You almost always can to a run. He can to a throw. So the pre-reads before the play even starts, he's becoming a playbook guy. To somebody's point, I don't remember who said that earlier. And was it Fish? Cody. It was Cody. Okay. So that was a real win. And he's you're pointing the wrong way, bro. But to your point, you're not wrong. But I think canning to a throw was a whole new dimension that we hadn't seen all season long.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too is you guys have to realize with our schedule, we had to meet at the beginning. So we kind of had to go, balls to the wall. And we hit those 4 games that kind of, like me and my grandpa were watching last week and we're like, up until the end of it, we're like, man, like we're not having fun. Like we're winning. We expect to win. We're kind of almost ready for like the product. Like we want the playoffs to start, not to like overlook, but we're just like, we're done whooping on fools. Like we want to know if we're going to choke or not this year, Like we want to know if we're going to be happy because this is fun.
I think we all want to know if we're going to choke or if we're going to be able to finish this thing out.
Yeah.
But David and Joseph, you just had to hear our keys to the game. Give us some feedback on that.
Well, hold on, let me finish, Keith.
Oh yeah, you're right.
No, you're finished.
Real quick, David, I'll give one.
I just think we get a better KOC this week and the following weeks than what we got the last 4 weeks because we weren't playing anybody that great. So I feel like the play calling is going to be a lot better this week than it has been the last 3-4 weeks.
All right, fair enough. Go ahead, fellas. Rebut the keys to the game.
Yeah, obviously, I think for us, obviously, our keys to the game would be the complete opposite of yours, obviously. But I think one thing that is the main focus for us is forcing Sam Darnold to go into multiple progression and not allowing those single progression reads. One thing that has been interesting and has been a problem for us throughout our entire time watching the Cardinals is watching the Sean McVay offense, an intelligent individual who just knows what to do most of the time. And his offenses are a lot of those, hey, first one's not there, dump that off. Second one's not there, dump that off. And we've seen that kind of problem come into the Cardinals for just a long time playing against those teams. And I think that's one thing that teams figure out very quickly of, hey, that 5 yard out, 8's 5 yards, but that's a 5 yard. It's third and 4. And I think that's one thing the Cardinals are going to have to figure out is how to, which again comes with that dropping 8, dropping 9, trying to figure out, hey, we're zone coveraging everything. Make Sam Darnold have to throw the ball somewhere. And again, one of those, if he makes the throw, sick. If he doesn't, sick. And I think that's kind of what the Cardinals' goal, at least my first, I would say, key is hey, force Sam Darnold to have to throw the ball. Don't let him.
Let me push back on you on that in a second, Joseph, because this second time you brought it up where you're going to drop 8 in coverage. Does that really work against a quarterback that can run?
So what's interesting is that, it worked against Geno. It worked against, I don't know if I don't know if I would consider Sam Darnold a quarterback who can't run. He has the ability to run, but he's not a running quarterback more than anything. And I think it's more of an 8-man drop, more of a 7-man drop. And it's a lot less of that scheming. You're not getting fake blitz packages from the Cardinals usually. You're getting, hey, you're passing somewhere. Figure out where you're going to pass it. And we've just seen Sam Darnold, other than this year, obviously, again, looking at this year, I haven't watched some of the Vikings games, but Sam Darnold has struggled with that. When he was on the Panthers, he struggled against zone coverages. He struggled against kind of that man up on certain guys and then zone coverage everywhere else. And I think that's what you'll see a lot out of the Cardinals is, hey, our corners are going to match up with Justin. Corners are going to match up with Addison. You're going to have someone a linebacker spying out
TJ or any of the running backs that play. And I think you'll see a lot of that. All right, well then it's man on man up until they're into that second level, and you've got zone coverage up and past that point. I think that'd be kind of my main point is, hey, make Sam Darnold throw the ball, make him have to prove that he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, or at least can utilize his weapons in the correct way. David, what would you think is another one?
Who's covering Justin Jefferson?
It don't matter if you got
Garrett Williams, baby.
Yeah, so it don't matter if you got 3 people. We've seen the Cardinals secondary lock up all the top receivers this year. Garrett Wilson had I think 3 catches. Devontae Adams had no catch. Had I think 1 catch and he bounced off one off his hands. Tyreek Hill had 1 catch. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 1. We've just seen that. I mean, the Cardinals secondary has proved that they can cover these top guys more than anything. I'm going as a Cardinal fan on the aspect that I think they will do the same thing more than anything. But we would love, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I would love to see JJ go crazy. I can't say I don't like watching JJ go insane either. So I love you, bro. I love you.
You must be on your fantasy team.
You're my boy, Blue.
David, what would you say is the second one?
And I'm a Cardinals fan.
Honestly, I have a little bit more faith in our defense than our offense right now. Our defenses came in, even despite our lack of talent, they ball and they play their hearts out. And, you know, Nick Rallis, our DC, he's scheming guys to get to the quarterback. Somehow, some way, we don't have the horses. A lot of the guys that are on the D-line, I don't even know. My biggest thing is protect Kyler. His pocket presence has been so much better than years before. I've seen so many times in the past, he would feel pressure and just roll out of the pocket, get himself into trouble. He wouldn't be looking downfield, and he would just get himself in so many bad issues. So I think if we could just protect Kyler, obviously you guys have the number 1 run defense in the league. So it's not realistic to be like, hey, we're going to pound the rock and, you know, rush for 150 yards. So if Kyler has to stand back there and sling the rock, he's proved that he can do that. He's proved it. He can do that. That is in his arsenal. He has weapons now. You know, I think if they can just keep him upright and not have a game like they did against Seattle last week, we definitely can get something going and get some consistency with the offense. They've been really Jekyll and Hyde this year. One game they'll put up, 30 points, the next game 10. Like it's really frustrating to see the offense, at least considering how much they invested into the offense and the players.
Yeah, and I think a third one for me would be, we say it every week, and it's been interesting because of the coaching regime that we have currently, second year, not super, I don't know, super well endowed when it comes to them coming for an offensive side of things. Jonathan Gannon as a defensive guy, Drew Petzing he brought on. Just interesting because we're not an offensively coached team. But I think one of the things that will be interesting to see is just getting the ball to the guys that we need to get the ball to. We've seen a lot this year of those secondary guys, third guys, third strings, whatever you want to say, getting the ball more often than Marv, and then kind of those possessions where you're trying to force it to Marvin Harrison just doesn't really make sense. We've seen plenty of times throughout this year, it almost seems like they're like, hey, feed Marvin Harrison. Yes. If he's not open, feed Marvin Harrison.
Yes.
It doesn't work when you have it doesn't work though Marvin Harrison might be one of the most doubled rookies I've ever seen in my life. It is insane the amount of scheming that goes into, hey, Marv, you're going to have 3 guys on you the whole game, and we're going to force you the ball. I want to see Trey McBride. We brought this up 5-6 weeks ago. It seemed like Kyler, kind of like you guys had said with Sam, and understanding how TJ Hawkinson had been kind of unlocked this new piece of him of like, oh, wow, like TJ Hawkinson is really good at playing tight end. Trey McBride was that for Kyler 5-6 weeks ago, where it was like, hey, maybe Trey's supposed to be the number 1 this year, man. I mean, I would love for it to be Marv, but if it's not winning games because Marv's not the guy for the number 1 spot in his rookie season, then you feed the guy who is. And right now it looks like Trey McBride. And again, like I said, I think it boils down to if Trey McBride can have a good game and if James Conner can have a good game, it's an open book of a game. And even if a good game is, 70 yards for James Conner, but the Vikings defense is worn out, is tired, whatever you want to say. If you can get them to dude, Marvin Murphy is going to be crazy, actually. That would be hilarious to see Byron Murphy on Marvin Harrison. Just don't overthrow Michael Wilson in the end zone. Yeah, just don't do that. Yeah, 100%. And I think one of those where it's been interesting because we really haven't scored a ton of throwing touchdowns this year. And I think, again, David would probably say that as another key to the game is just continue to be effective in the red zone. I don't know how many possessions the Cardinals are getting this game. It could be very few. But if you can get the Cardinals into the red zone, their playbook and
Kyler being a running quarter. It's a dangerous game to play red zone football against the Cardinals right now. They score with Kyler. They score with Trey running the ball. They score with James Conner running the ball. They score with Greg Dortch, the fourth string receiver, catching ball. Like, their red zone offense is effective, and if you can keep them out of the red zone offense, it's a much better game plan more than anything. Let them in the red zone, and it's difficult.
Out of the red zone, we're really good at it. I'll tell you that.
But I think the Cardinals are better at it.
Ooh,
You gotta get there.
hey, we're definitely
Exactly.
gonna find
You got to
out.
get there.
So we're getting kind of late for our East Coast fam, and we gotta do a couple things after we get you guys out. So the last thing I want to do for you guys, and you guys have been freaking awesome. I think this is the longest we've ever had enemies on. So
Hopefully that's good.
This is awesome. I wish we played each other more often so we could do this. And we're gonna be there for your halftime show if we can figure that out. But the last thing I want to ask you guys is, what is your prediction for the game? The result and the score. I'm gonna start with you, David.
Man, you guys are putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
This is how
I'm
we
gonna say,
roll.
yeah, no, I like it. I'm gonna say 23-20. I think it's gonna be a tough game, but I think my boys are gonna pull it out, and I think they're gonna somehow, some way, find a way to win, like we did in 2021. Ugly game. There's big plays, busted coverage, just entertain. It's gonna be an entertaining game. I feel it. I sense it. It's what happened a few years ago. I think we're gonna get that again, but the Cardinals are gonna find a way.
So 23-20 Cardinals you got.
Yep.
All right, I'm writing it down. All right.
I'm gonna throw a wild number out there, okay?
Uh-oh.
I think it's gonna be 19-10. I think there's gonna be 2 touchdowns in the game, and the rest of the scoring will be field goals the rest of the time out. I think it'll be 4 for the Cardinals, and we'll have 12 points, or we'll have a touchdown in between. Maybe second possession have a touchdown. But I think the Cardinals will only capitalize on 1 red zone appearance and score a touchdown, and the Vikings will have 1, I think, busted coverage that leads to a Jordan Addison tutty, and I think it'll be 19-10 Cards.
Ooh. All right. Well, at least you both took your team. That hasn't been happening, so I'm glad you guys were fine for your team. Yeah. No, I mean we've been playing teams with a losing record, so they've all been down on their team. So it was nice to actually have some fans on here that were fighting for their team, and you guys gave us a lot of good knowledge, a lot of things to look forward to in this game. So I do appreciate that. And go ahead and shout out your podcast real quick for our Viking fans.
Yeah, real quick. It's uncensored commentary. So the goal of it is a live show. So we do play-by-play commentary of the game throughout the entire game. We let you guys know the timestamps and everything like that. Our goal is to give you a different viewing experience than regular TV right now. Me and David don't kind of relate to a lot of the older sportscasters and want to put our own foot in the door and create our own way into the thing. So we want to do that for y'all. If you guys are ever interested, we do look to be doing another game soon because of our schedules. It's a little difficult, but we would love, again, obviously, even if you guys just had us talking about football. I mean, we love football. We love ball. We appreciate you guys for having us on. We appreciate all the comments and everything, everybody who came from our channel saying hi. But uncensored commentary live at 10:30 on Sunday, 30 minutes before the game, doing our pregame show, talking about what we're excited for, and then obviously our play-by-play. So we appreciate y'all. Thank you, everybody, for all the support and all the viewership and stuff.
Yeah, Viking fans, if you want to catch them during the game, I mean, they comment play-by-play. So if you want to jump on their channel for that game, that'd be cool. And Cody and Rinaldi will be there at halftime to get some perspective. So go ahead and jump on with that. And yeah, we go every week during the off season. So definitely during the off season, we'll get you guys on just to talk some football.
It might be needed. It might be needed for us.
We'll see you on Sunday, guys. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Really good job.
Appreciate it. We look forward to having you guys on there.
Give us a skull, man.
All right. Is it guttural or is it just loud?
No, just yell it. You can say it quiet.
I'll do. No, we'll hit a good skull. I'll hit a loud skull. I don't really care if I get in trouble in my apartment complex at all. So, all right. Skol!
Thank you, Joseph.
You guys have a blessed
David is like the divorce is happening right now behind the scenes.
There, you got one. Hey, what a good sport.
Great job. They were great.
Thanks, guys. Great job.
All right, fellas. So I know it's late for some of you guys, but we've had a great audience. We had great guests. It was a great time, but we have a couple of things of business to handle here before we get out of here. And the first one is predictions for the game. So let me get your predictions for this game, the score and the result. Go ahead, Rinaldi.
52-10 Vikings.
Is that real?
For real.
I think it's for real too. I'm kind of with Ronaldo here, bro.
Oh my god. Well then, I'm gonna give you a buffer. Shaq, what do you got?
Oh no. I'm gonna be more respectful. I'll say 30. We're gonna score 30 points again against the Cardinals. 14.
Ooh, that's close to mine. There we
Give me
go.
that prediction real quick.
Marvin Harrison Jr. score. Let's go, baby.
Give me that score result prediction real quick again, Shaq, to make it easier for me.
My bad. So it was 30-14 Vikings.
30-14 Vikings. All right. Michael Fish.
Staying with our time-honored tradition of not being able to score over 30, I'm going to say 27-17 Vikings.
That's a dub.
That's
Over
a dub,
24.
and that was actually my damn scoring prediction. Now I got to scramble. All right, Cody. So since you like David Ronaldo, he's 52 to 10.
I like David's, and I really loved Shaq's because I think I ain't gonna lie, we're gonna blow this team out. In my opinion, we're gonna blow this team. The offense is finally opening up. What we wanted to see all year long with all these weapons and Sam Darnold. Like Sam Darnold, you got all these weapons now. You can throw it to whoever you want on the field. He's got to look for it. I say close to really to Shaq, 34-16 Vikings blowout.
Boom.
Boom.
Back-to-back weeks.
I actually like that one, but even though Fish already said it, I'm going to stick with it. I got the Minnesota Vikings winning this game 27-17.
Blowout.
And I'm a sucker for it. 2-score game. I'm asking for it again. I'm asking for it every damn game, and they almost delivered it. DeMarco, he got it 27-17 too, so that's getting a little too common for me. Getting worried.
It's so
Now,
sexy.
I just want you all to know, David was on here watching us give these predictions. So at halftime, if it's looking a little rough for us, get ready, you two.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
We're about to be viral.
I'm expecting a 21-3 game at halftime. Like that's where I'm at right now. And then
hey, if it's 21-3, damn, you still got to go on that mode.
I'm gonna go on that.
Yeah, you got
Down.
Just keep saying YouTube, let's go. YouTube, let's go. Hey, Cody, got a question for you. What do you think about the first quarter, first half? YouTube, let's go.
Let's go. Hey, I got 15 minutes of this shit. Keep this laid on me. It's fine. But I really don't think. I saw the Seahawks play the same defense that we play all year long, and man, Kyler Murray looked really suspect. I ain't gonna lie. It wasn't good. And I'm
still worried. I mean, him and James Conner are the ones that scare me. McBride don't scare me.
And I'm not even really scared about James Conner. We're the number one run defense in the league. Put that in port with the defense that the Seahawks ran our defense during that game. Oof. Get ready. I'm telling you. This is when you're going to see it. The offense needs to completely open up. I thought we saw cracks in the offense starting to open up. Like it was like we're almost there. I think it's going to open up this week.
All right. Ronaldo needs to get out of here. So let's go ahead and jump into our hot takes. Cody, you ready?
Oh, yeah. 100% ready.
Let's go through your hot take, Cody.
So my hot take is, I'm sorry, Fish. I got to say this. I got to do this to you, man. I got to do this to you, man. I'm sorry. Daniel Jones will be the backup quarterback in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, that's a good take.
To Nick Mullins, I like it.
Yeah, Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins.
Hey, good comeback, Fish. Good comeback on that one.
One of this.
I like it.
He on the practice squad, or he might just get waived.
So what's that? Is that the Bears game, or what game is that?
It should be tomorrow.
He said 2.5 weeks. So like,
2.5 weeks. It's going to be in the middle of the week thing. We activate Daniel Jones because it's in a 3-week window.
Sam Darnold got dinged up again, and he's out. And Nick has to start, and Jones is going to be the backup. I'm with you, Cody.
So, Cody, it happens in this 3-game homestand.
Yes, it will. And Nick Mullins might be on the Packers practice squad.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Oh,
we got fair women to cut.
I love it.
I hate that you just said that.
I know it sucks, but that's what teams got to do.
But that would definitely happen because they want to learn about our team. He might be a freaking lion.
You just stole a piece of my hot take. I'm just a piece of it, just a little.
Let him start.
Well, then I'll let you think about it, and I'm gonna go with somebody I know isn't ready. Shaq, what's your hot take?
Shit. So many. So I'll go with Justin Jefferson is going to have 2 touchdowns, 140 yards.
Ooh, that's ball game.
Gritty.
I like that one. I like it. I mean, if he has that kind of game, we should win. So I like it. Michael Fish.
The Detroit Lions are going to lose their next 2 games, and the Minnesota Vikings are going to be first in the division in 2 weeks.
I fucking believe it.
Michael Fish is making all kinds of Detroit Lion friends.
So we're sneaking.
So I'm gonna go with one. It might not be that hot because you know what? I really didn't even have one, but these guys talking, I do, and that is the Minnesota Vikings will hold Trey McBride to under 55 yards.
Okay.
It's hot.
Because what they said, 70.
That's not a good game for a tight end. That's actually really
for the second best tight end in the league, and one they said 75 yards would be a bad game for him. So I'm gonna say they're gonna hold him to under 55 yards. So the Vikings will hold Trey McBride to under 75 yards.
Because Brock Bowers looks like the best tight end in the league right now.
Bro, he looked good.
He did. He almost beat the Chiefs.
I hate to do this for the hot take for me. You guys are going to hate me for it.
Oh, gosh.
But I'm going to tell you right now that the Green Bay Packers are going to win the division.
What
the fuck?
Boo this man.
I'm going to win the hot take. It's a hot take. No one's talking about them. They won. They got 9 wins. The Green Bay Packers are going to sneak the division out because they always fucking do.
Like, push the red button. Why you push the red button?
You don't gotta say everything you think, my man.
Vikings chat on YouTube. I'm sorry. He's been wanting to get out past 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's got to say
he's
that.
Mad. He's mad. He told me he had to go. I'm like, you can't leave. He's like, all right, well, then I got something for that ass.
You prick.
My hot take
I just said that the damn Packers were going to beat the Lions next week, David.
Yeah,
And
I know.
Wow. So now you're in collaboration with him, Michael Fish.
He's ain't nobody talking about him.
You're an accessory to this, Fish.
It ain't. It's a good take. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
It's a good take, but this is a Minnesota Viking show, so I would like a good Minnesota Viking take.
It is a real good Minnesota Viking take.
We're gonna fall off.
I didn't say we'd fall off. I said
giving them takes we gotta wait a month for.
I need you to rub your beard.
I got a take that's live right now that we made it. We're waiting a month for, and it's gonna happen this week. 5-0 in the last 5
So you're a
games.
Viking fan for one more week, but then you're a Packer fan the rest of the year.
Never said that.
Rub your fucking beard right now. Rub your beard right now. Yeah, get that thing itching.
All right, Phil. This has been a great show. We still got a great audience, so thank you everybody who's here. Let's go ahead and go around. Shaq, I'm gonna start with you because this is a good time for you to be you.
Yeah, so I'm glad we had the 2 Cardinals fans on. Man, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Thanks to everybody who came through Black Friday. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, with your family or with people you love. You can also, if you want to donate some money, buy me coffee. Let's go. We're trying to go out here and get that playoff game. Get us to the playoffs. Not just the Vikings. Let's go to the playoffs. That's what we're shooting for.
I like it. I don't think Ronaldo gets one. Michael Fish.
Yeah.
I hate David Rinaldi right now.
I hate David Rinaldi too. Look at that t-shirt. I hate David Rinaldi.
I think that is a t-shirt.
Now.
I just want to thank those 2 guys for coming on. I think that they were fantastic. They were probably our 2 best enemies that we've had so far. They really brought the energy and they had some good knowledge and they were able to talk their game. and they were even able to put up with Cody, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to say, screw you, David Rinaldi, one more time. No, no, but listen, we have an opportunity here. We just got to take it. We got to blow the Lions out on week 18. I'm not talking about this weekend. I said we got to blow the Lions out on week 18. Make a statement and remind people of how they were talking about the Minnesota Vikings the first 5 weeks of this season. Remind them that we were in the hunt for the Super Bowl and why we were in that hunt. And we're going to do it because we're going to win this damn division. Because the
Yes,
Packers
we
are going
are.
to beat the Lions. And
Despite
that's
David
it.
Rinaldi.
Yeah. And we're going to have the first bye. And the Lions are going to be the best 5 seed in NFL history.
I hope a deer pisses all over your fucking porch and you miss when you shoot.
And with that, I say, keep it safe. It's the weekend. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Speaking of deer, be careful. Those fluffy white tails hurt when they hit your car. And everybody be safe. Let's have a great game on Sunday, and let's Skol.
Let's go.
That's
Cody.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah. Best 5 seed in the ever in NFL history, I would say. Yeah. Honestly, I think that's what they would be. I mean, we have an opportunity right now as a team because how much injuries they have on that defense. I think we have an opportunity to either tie them or take them over. But I really do think week 18 is going to determine the number 1 seed. Other than that, like Fish said, hey, stay safe. It's the holiday weekend. All right. Don't be a Jordan Addison. Sorry, Jordan Addison. Don't be a Jordan Addison. Don't be a Jamin Davis. Don't be that guy, man. Just have a plan. Have a plan at the end of the day. Have a plan. You go to the bar, make sure you have a plan to get back. All right. You're getting there. Have a plan to get back. You had a plan to get there. Have a plan to get back. Other than that, don't beat your dogs. Don't beat your wives. Don't beat your kids. And always, let's go.
let's
All
go.
right. That's a good one. And I just want to let everybody know David Rinaldi's opinions doesn't represent all of us. Although he usually has some really good takes and he has a lot of good things to say, but you know, we can't stamp everything he says. And if he ends up being right, he's going to gloat about it like the Packer fan that he. Okay, no, we love Rinaldi and we love all you guys. Thank you guys for sticking around with us and hanging out with us. Come hang out with us again on Sunday. 10 minutes after the Vikings game ends, we will be live again for some aftercare. We'll either be celebrating the win or venting the loss. But either way, join us. Let's Skol.
Let's go.
Let's go.